think we're live. I think we're live. Hey there, everybody. How is it going today? Apologies if you caught me on Twitch 2 minutes ago because I accidentally went live there instead. What can I say? I'm not the best. I'm not the best at this, guys. Okay, I'm trying. Is this thing on? Are we on? Are we on, people? Okay. All right. Not the best start to a stream ever. Jeez. I don't know. I've met too many enemies. I don't know if it's Wizards of the Coast, Games Workshop, or Mormons. All right. Are we in? Are we there? Yes, are we in? Okay, right. That's so, okay. Here's the deal. I started this stream saying, let me know if there's any audio issues. So thanks for letting me know that there was audio issues. I appreciate that. We had to do a little sneaky restart of the computer. Shut down everything, set it all back up, you know, as one does, 6 minutes into the stream. Looks like we've lost every viewer, but there's 30 people sick. Lost about 100, 200 people. Welcome, guys. Well, hardcore audience, guys who will hang around. The folk who will hang around after the stream has ended. All right, thanks, everybody. How is it going? Please let me know how the audio is, by the way. Let me know if that happens again. As I was saying, I've been having a lot of tech issues recently. And I was cut off in the middle of saying that I was having that a goblin life leads to goblin problems. This is one of them goblin problems I'm talking about. This is it. I did exactly, Terrence. I turned it off and turned it back on again. It's genuinely what I did. It's the only thing I know how to do. It's all I know how to do. So I've been having issues with my audio. It's been too low for like the live streams. That's why I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks. And I had to buy a pretty expensive piece of kit to get it like boosted before post. Like I can boost it in editing, but I can't edit a live stream, right? Otherwise, I'd be like the BBC and I'd be able to like cut myself off when I say something particularly spicy. Unfortunately, I do not yet have that technology. So I have to like boost it in hardware on the mic. So there's a little thing that the microphone goes into. And I bought one, and then it broke and kept on shutting down, and my audio kept going off. And now it's happening again with this one, and I'm real nervous because these things are expensive, man. I can't keep buying these things. Okay. Yeah, I had this. My graphics card broke. It's been a hard time, guys. I really do. There is a flower van outside my house, and it does have a big satellite on it. And I do hear furious tapping every single time I walk past it, but it's probably nothing. Probably nothing. Just a big eye on the side of it that says "We never sleep." Who could that be? Okay. Okay, guys. How is it going? How is everyone doing this weekend? I am not doing too great. I'm gonna be honest with you. My hay fever's playing up, so apologies if things are pretty gross. Although we are looking at Tyranids today, and I have heard some things. I have not seen the new Tyranid models. For those who do not know, Tyranids are a faction in Warhammer 40k. They're big aliens. If you imagine the Zerg, the Zerg were based on them. No, sorry, the Tyranids were based on the Zerg. Comment below. And they call me a rage baiter. So Yeah, we're gonna be doing Tyranids. Sorry, the poke van is just driving by, so we're just gonna wait for the ice cream van to go by. Anybody want anything? Dungeons Dreadnought says they live. Hello there, Dungeons Dreadnoughts. Terrence Winter says it's your neighbor. Could be. Rose Kindred says you're not alone. Other channels I watch, especially for 100k to 1 million subs, their live audio is low because they fix it in post only. So nice to care enough to get a booster so we can hear. Yeah. No. I got it. I'm glad that you appreciate it. Let me know if there are any issues with the audio, by the way, because I will need that information. Yeah, so I'm like setting up right now the things that I already had set up, but I'm kind of talking over it at the same time, so that's professionalism. Yes, okay, so firstly, thanks so much to CryptoKev for donating $2. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You're gonna have that'll get you a nice crowd. I'll get you a screwball. Dumpy Man wants a screwball as well. No problem at all. Scython says Tyranids are based on bugs and aliens. Well, yes, so Tyranids are, I believe, based on aliens. They are the quintessential sort of bug species, the hive mind horde kind of faction that roam out in their billions, and they're like kind of insectoid in a way, very very HR Geiger as well in terms of their design. All right, so we're gonna look at some new ones because Games Workshop have come down from the mountain. They have come down from the mountains and they have deigned to give us some new Tyranid models, which is a cause for celebration. It's not a new Space Marine model, so huzzah! Yeah, there has been, and we actually had to earn this one. Games Workshop made us fight for it. Ooh, pretty spicy. They made us fight for our right to have new models. So that was nice of them, at least. There was a thing called the Battle for Oghram, which was a planet that Games Workshop made up in the lore. This planet called Oghram, and they had players who had purchased the new Leviathan starter box for Warhammer 40k 10th edition. People who bought that box could then send in their battle results to Games Workshop and say whether or not they won. If they were playing as Tyranids, that would count towards a Tyranid victory. If they were playing as Space Marines, that would count as a Space Marine victory. And people sent in their results. And Tyranids won. So this was not a kind of a Black Crusade Eye of Terror campaign where this months-long odyssey as teams form online and people are playing legitimate battles that are tracked in Games Workshop stores and local hobby stores, and people play them and they lead to this big crazy storyline and people are like, oh my god, and then it's like wild. 1 second the Imperials are winning, the Imperials get really haughty, really arrogant, they think that they've won the battle, and then the Chaos Forces completely blindside them by targeting specific weak points in the Imperial battle lines, by the way, which actually happened in the campaign. The Eye of Terror campaign was a player campaign that Games Workshop put on back in 2003, just before I started wargaming. And what they did was they recorded all the battles, and they had Chaos versus Order, the Imperium. I think the Xenos were off doing their own little thing. And they had those two teams fight, and the Imperium was way bigger, was way bigger than the Chaos team. The Imperium was massive, and they had everything, and they were winning so hard. The first week, they were like winning every single battle. And the Chaos team had a really hard time because they were trying to attack planets, and the Imperium were having to defend, and they just had an easier time, however way the meta was working in the campaign system. It had this big meta structure, but you had to fight battles on the tabletop, proper tabletop games, and then report them in the Games Workshop. Imperium was winning, and then kind of the Imperium sort of sat back on their laurels and were like, haha, guess we win. Meanwhile, the Chaos team had organized themselves on a forum and were actually attacking specific planet weak points. They worked out this kind of way to almost game the campaign system and started attacking the Imperium. I think they would do overwhelming force on one planet, then quickly switch to another planet. And it meant that the Imperium forces were unable to defend it very well. Absolutely fascinating campaign. Chaos ended up winning because the Imperium were too arrogant. And I think that is so chef's kiss. And then, of course, obviously, that was all ignored by Games Workshop, and they rewrote it all in the Eye of Terror campaign for 7th edition, and then just some lore stuff happened instead. The Games Workshop kind of did. Anyway, this was not that event. This was the Battle for Oghram. This is just a marketing exercise. There isn't really going to be any ramifications of this. It's not like the planet Oghram was like really important. It wasn't like Leontis, the High Lord of the Imperium, was on the planet at the time, and now he's gotten his brain sucked out by a brain bug, and the Tyranids know the defenses to Terra, and they can go on and try to conquer the Astronomicon, eat the Emperor's brains. It's nothing like that. It's just like a little kind of fun thing that they put on where it's like, hey, who's gonna win the battle for Oghram? And the answer was Tyranids. Tyranids won the Battle of Oghram, to the surprise of many, I think. I think one thing to remember, though, is that everybody hates Space Marines who aren't Space Marines. And I know that the Space Marine players outnumber the non-Space Marine players, but the Space Marine players also tend to be, like the more casual players, I think. I actually think that a lot of the seal. Okay, now we're getting way off, but we're just gonna stop off here. Don't worry, we're on a bus trip and we're on our way to see some Tyranid models. I'm kind of just chatting to you at the bus stop here, right? We're on our way. So the thing is, I think that a lot of the money that Games Workshop makes actually just comes from very casual purchasers who go in and they buy some Space Marines, and then maybe they build a couple and they paint a couple, and they're like, hey, that was kind of fun, or that wasn't fun, and that's me done. Woohoo! I think a lot of seals come from that, and Space Marine models sell a lot to that kind of audience, because Space Marines are cool, and they're big, and they're badass, and they're like kind of like the poster kids, of the poster boys of 40k. Tyranids, however, Tyranids are, you're into Tyranids. Ooh, you're a hardcore player. And if I'm a Dark Eldar player, I'm voting for Tyranid. I'm gonna make out stuff. I mean, I'm a Dark Eldar. I'm gonna go. Yes, myself and my Space Marine companion, my pal, we played a battle for Oghram, and I was certainly playing as the Tyranids, and I definitely won. That's every single Dark Eldar player. So all 6 of us, we all sent in our votes, and that was fun. And the Tyranids ended up winning the votes. So Tyranids won. What they won was they canonically win the battle for Oghram. Yeah, they got a little lore snippet there. Probably gonna show up in a piece of text. Nice. And aside from that, they also win some reveals of models, new models for Tyranids specifically. So that's pretty cool. Now, I hit the dampen down the hype here on my own stream. Unfortunately, these models, they're not like these models weren't made for this. There's new Space Marine models coming as well, and whoever won the battle for Oghram was going to get their models shown first. So next week, we're probably going to see some Space Marine stuff, to be honest. But hey, all a little bit of fun. It was all a little bit of fun. And that's all good. That's all good. So today, we're going to be looking at the new Tyranid models, and we shall be judging them. I'm not sure if I said before, but I haven't seen these models yet. I've seen some. Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll let you know when we get to the ones that I've seen. So we're going to look at them. Dungeons Dreadnought say, as I definitely see the Dark Eldar pushing Tyranids people, if possible, seems legit. Yeah, I think it would be kind of fun to see some stuff like the, people often are like, the Dark Eldar don't have enough of an interaction into the wider kind of galaxy. But I actually think that it could be fun to see the Dark Eldar kind of just doing things that causes terror, so they can it's just easier for them to raid, like the opportunistically raid planets and be pirates and that, so like directing a hive fleet into like a bunch of Imperial planets, then in the chaos they can fly down and go whoo and pick up a bunch of slaves, all that jazz. New Space Marine Y, Red? New Space Marines Y? I think new Space Marines, why not? New Space Marines, why not? Because they'll sell, because they'll make money. There's more people playing Space Marines, I suspect, than every other faction put together. I really honestly believe that. I think that let's be honest, half the factions of Warhammer are Space Marine factions, and I'm including Custodes in that. Custodes and Grey Knights are Space Marines. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but they are Space Marines. I know they might not be canonically, they're not the same kind of gene warrior, but they serve the same purpose. They're superhuman Superman. They're the same faction. They're the same faction in my mind. And they wore the same armor. They were the Custodes are slightly beefier Space Marines, but they have Terminator armor, just like Terminator Space Marines. They're the same thing. They're the same thing. One's gold, one's not. Okay, anyway, we're getting into it now. So we're gonna go into the browser view, if it works. Hey, it worked, but where's chat box? Where's chat? Oh, 1 second. Let's. What in the name of? Let's. Oh. Okay, right. So that's the one. Let's pull that in. Hey, there we go. Okay. XC Mixel says, even if new Space Marine kits are lame, like the new Rocket guys, they can just give them good rules and they'll sell. Yes, they will, indeed. Well, me, like Genestealer cultists are selling out right now. I'm like a member of the Genestealer cultist subreddit, have been for a while, because I'm like a wee Genestealer cult fan. I play Genestealer cults. And 10th edition has been kind of fun because Genestealer cults are doing quite well in the meta right now. So there's a lot of new Genestealer cultists, let me tell you that much. Okay. All right, so let's see. The battle has evolved. So here we go. This is the Battle for Oghram preview. We're going to look at some new models. New bugs. Okay, we can already see them. Now, a lot of the Tyranid models actually look kind of fine, honestly. Here is the lore. If you're excited for that, that's the lore. But we're not here for the lore. Yeah, there we are. Tyranid victory. Hell yeah. So 47% Space Marines, 53% Tyranids. A surprise, honestly. I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised. I thought that the Space Marines would win. I really did think the Space Marines would win. I was really surprised that the Tyranids started to win. I think that perhaps the Space Marines started to win at the beginning, and I wonder if it took everybody else to kind of rally and start putting in their votes. Plus, Space Marines are kind of the baddies. You know, like they're the heel for everyone. Like, I hate to break this to Space Marine players, but everybody who doesn't play Space Marines, we look at your Space Marine army like the heel of the game. You're like the faction everybody loves to hit. You know, they just are. Like, Space Marines are like, everybody's like, oh, classic, another miniature for Space Marines. You know, it's a very easy target. You know, when you're like an Eldar player and you get your one refresh every 20 years, which consists of some new Guardian models, and it raises the price of them by like 20%. You're like, oh, great, thanks a lot, Games Workshop. And then you see Space Marine player Dave playing Iron Hands being like, how come we don't get any special models? How come Iron Hands don't get any special models? What's up with that? Huh? Games Workshop hates us. You're like, what? Games Workshop hates you? You've had 20 new Space Marine models in the last 3 months. What do you mean Games Workshop hates you? Yeah, but they're not Iron Hands specific, though. They're not Iron Hands specific models. God damn it, every Space Marine model is an Iron Hands specific model. Every Space Marine model is a Dark Angels model. Sorry, we're here to be positive. Okay, I haven't streamed in too long. I've been let out of my cage. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Wow, okay, they're just throwing them at us. All right, let's talk about the Genestealers first. So these are all new, and these are the ones I have seen. I've seen these Genestealer models, and yeah, you can see them here, and it's definitely a bit of a glow up. You can let's actually pull up. So this is the new models here. They have some like basing detail. Kind of reminds me of the Patriarch. They got some pipes and stuff there, and some rocks, and definitely a lot more dynamically posed compared to the old ones. Let's actually pull up the old Games Workshop so we can compare, because I think there's some other glow ups as well. All right. So this is the new models here, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not like super impressed by these, just because, and this is like a purely personal thing. So this is like purely personal. I'm just not the biggest fan of the Genestealer aesthetic. I'm just not really. I know that they have a place in everyone's heart because they're like one of the first Xenos, I think, that were ever shown. Originally they were like Chaos Demons, and I know that people love Genestealers. You know, you got Space Hulk and things like that. And I collect Genestealer cults, right? But I don't like the Genestealer, like the pure strain Genestealer models. It's just, there's something about the weird folds of the skin and the weird ridges and stuff. I don't know. It just never clicked with me. I get people really like them. They just never look like super threatening to me either, personally. But these are definitely much nicer models compared to the previous ones. Oh my God, get me out. Fine, take my cookies. There we go. UK English. Thank you very much. Unfortunately. Not to get political. Okay, whoa. Geez, I need to... I really do need like a 10-second delay. All right. Right, so these are... Okay, but like this is the old Genestealer models, okay? So this is the old Genestealer models. So that's what we were working with before. And yeah, they definitely feel their age. They definitely feel their age. Now, there were newer models in between these models and the newest ones, these new ones that are coming out. But they were like part of a box set that you can't get anymore. Well, it's Games Workshop. Womp. Yeah. So they do, yeah, they did have tendrils before. You can see this old one that has like a little tendril there. But the new one's definitely a lot nicer. Definitely a lot nicer. I think this back edition was actually done in that other kit I was talking about. The kit that was released in like 2011, 2016? I don't know. The last years have reduced me to muck. Okay, and yeah, so they're pretty nice. A little bit more dynamically posed. Let's count down my Discord, says Ithon. I can't, man. I'm operating on very little sleep. I'm operating on very, very little sleep. And this guy's got like a weird thing happening here. This guy actually looks like he's in a little bit of trouble. Hold on, let's get nice and deep here, and I'll have a little look. Yep, this guy's got something going on. So if you're ever having a bad time in life, just remember you're not this guy. Yeah. Talk about your dry heaves. All right, so yeah, the models look fine. I'm probably never gonna like use them at all, to be honest. Like even in my Genestealer Cult Force, I'm probably just never gonna use them. They're just not like super exciting to me, but I appreciate that there's other people who really do like the look of them, and they feel a lot more modern now. I kind of get a little bit nervous sometimes when I see these types of models, because I'm like, oh, it's not, are these gonna just all be like monopose, you know? I hope they're not. I hope there's some variation, there's some like customization. Looks like the heads will be customizable, so that'll be fun. Okay, so yeah, we got these guys. I always love this. It's always like the Genestealers could tear a mighty Terminator limb from limb, but I never really get that impression from the models. They always look a lot very sinewy. They don't ever feel like super strong to me. They don't, you know, they've always looked a little bit more like scrappers. They remind me of my granddad, but they don't look, you know, they're not like big and strong. They're more like, whew, you know, you best watch out. So I never really kind of got I guess their talons are like armor piercing, but yeah, you know, they kind of feel like more like infantry mulchers. Like they would carve their way through, like weaker infantry rather than going after Terminators. But hey, whatever, I'll buy it. All right, so there we go. That's the Genestealers. Okay, and this one I am excited about. I'm really excited about this because I love these models. So with Tyranids, yeah, they're meant to be able to fit into smaller spaces too, says Alan. Yeah, so for those who don't know, the actual lore of these guys is that they jump in ships and stuff, and they basically infiltrate human society is kind of the goal of them. And then they basically infiltrate society, and then they create Genestealer cults. With the Genestealer's Kiss, which turns people into enthralled by they become seduced by the Genestealer. Genestealer puts on some music, you know, you enter his boudoir, get through the beaded curtains. There's a Genestealer sitting there on some curtains and some pillows, you know. Welcome to my lair. And then this thing right here just shows up, and you're like, oh baby, how could I say no? Okay. So yeah, these guys they do feel that way. Like I think they feel a lot more like they're meant to kind of exist in cramped spaces and really get through defenses and things like saboteurs. But I never got like a I can destroy Terminator vibe, even though in the lore and in their stats and things they can. So yeah, definitely a glow up. If you go down, you can see the alternative heads. Yeah, so they've got that. It reminds me of the Acolyte hybrids, which are Genestealer cult models who are meant to be in between human and Genestealers. So, and they've got a lot of heads like this. So it definitely makes a lot of sense to me that they would have heads like this. The thing about the Tyranids is they kind of flirt a little bit, specifically the Genestealer side of things. They flirt a little bit with Cthulhu-esque, like kind of cosmic horror. And this, the Genestealers are the equivalent of Deep Ones in kind of like a Lovecraftian horror. They're like the monsters, whereas the Genestealer cults are like the people of Innsmouth, you know? Okay, so, nice. Now these I'm excited about. These are the new battle line beasties. Termagants and Hortigants flood the battlefields of the worlds the hive mind has targeted for consumption. A swarming press of bodies that frequently prevails through sheer weight of numbers. So these guys, really, to me, there are people out there who play Tyranids as like monster Tyranids. They've got like big, massive monster models that go about the place. To me, Tyranids have always been about swarms. Billions of bodies of little monsters flying, filling the skyline, the horizon with a mass of flesh. And that's what we're going to be checking out. I guess we should do the video, right? I guess we should just do the video. Yeah, so these are the new models. Ooh, ooh. Very nice. They look very nice. I've been building the Leviathan box Tyranids, and yeah, they're pretty tasty. They're pretty tasty, honestly. I don't like, my problem with Tyranids, I don't like, whoa. So I think the paint scheme that Games Workshop do is really unfortunate sometimes, because Tyranids have this very fleshy look to them, and sometimes the models come out looking like something that belongs in like a Slaanesh army. The guns look really weird. They look really, really weird. Some of them make me a little bit uncomfortable, I'm gonna be honest. Someone shows up, slams that model down on the table in front of you, and goes, this is my bad Tyranid gun. What's up? Tio, can you please eject this deviant from the table, from the tournament, please? Yeah, these are like weird, man. Like, these are definitely, there is somebody in the Games Workshop design team that knew what they were doing. They had to justify a Google search to their bosses very fucking quickly, and this is the best thing they could come up with. They were like, okay, see, it's for a gun. Oh man, so yeah, so the guns are definitely very weird. I think the actual like core models, I love these. I love the are they the Termagants? I love the melee ones with the big blades. I think they look awesome. I think they look really cool, and I think that their stats in the game they're really interesting, like blender models where they're very weak but they're very offensively powered. I think that's really, really cool. So I really like them. I much prefer, I think, the melee ones to the ranged ones. I like that. I like his jaw. I like the way his jaw is like opening up, ready to accept whatever is coming forward. It's almost like it's unhooked itself and gotten much larger. I can't read chat right now, guys. I'd be demonetized if I read chat. Crypto Kev asking, are GW having a crossover with Bad Dragon? Bio guns are always a little strange, says Ixie Mixel. I prefer things like the Flesh Boar Hive on the Tyranno effects. Yeah, so that kind of gets me into this part where I'm gonna say I really like these models. I think these look really cool. I really like the blades. I've never understood those things though, like the Ripper Swarms that are like, imagine if you had like a person's face, like a head. This reminds me of Brown Jenkins. Anybody know who Brown Jenkins is? This reminds me of Brown Jenkins. It's like a person's face strapped onto the head of a body of a rat, right? It's the head of a man on the body of a rat. They always looked really weird, like disproportionate. Like they've got like, this guy here is Dave, and Dave's face has just been kind of like copied and pasted onto like a little, sperm, a little bit of sperm. And it's like, whoa, it's like flying around the battlefield. Paolo Fabiani is the artist, says Lorpbeard. So we all know where to direct our praise. Vixen Goth says, I love the one standing up, like it's doing a little Tyranid dance. Yeah, actually, I do love that's actually really cool. Yeah, I really like these. These feel very dynamic. My only worry is that they feel very, so this is kind of like my problem with monopose. I find it hard to discuss monopose models. I don't have a dictionary for it. And I don't think any of us really have a dictionary for it. These are, on the one hand, very dynamic, but on the other hand, very fucking static, right? Because they're dynamic in the posing when you look at them in a photograph, but they're static in the sense that they're not posable, you know? They look very, like, I'm gonna have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 Hornagants. These are the horny ones. And there's gonna always be one stand like this, and maybe it won't be too bad, I don't think, but yeah, I think they look cool. I'm not the biggest fan of having basing stuff on the actual base. Like, I like doing basing. Rocks don't annoy me too much, but they do definitely intrude sometimes on some types of bases. So I'm not like the biggest one. Lilith Hill says, imagine crediting artists. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I would love to know the different... I think that we would start to see... If we looked at which artists worked on which models, I think we'd start to realize who was the guy that was in charge of the tactical rocks. I think we'd start to find a lot of stuff. Okay, so those are those ones. And then we have the Termagants. And this is where things get a little bit screwy. This is where things get a little bit X-rated. So firstly, I think they look fine. I think they look like a nice... upgrade to the older ones. Definitely, I think the proportions on them look a little bit nicer. I think their heads are a little bit smaller. They look a little more crisp, a little bit more detailed. I think they look nice. Their core design problem for me, my own personal opinion, remains, however. The issue I've always had with these Tyranid models is I just don't buy the fact that they, like, grow a gun and then they hold the gun with their hands. It always felt weird to me. I don't know why. It's just the idea of it being like a modular gun has always felt a bit odd to me. I kind of wish they just had gun hands. I don't know. It's always felt a little bit off to me. I don't know where this originated. I don't know if it was like a model thing or not, or if it was always just a design decision. But it's always felt weird because you look here, it's like there's his hand, you know? You can see his hand there, and it's kind of like gripping this thing. Let's see here. And then we've got more Tyranid stuff. I gotta be honest, some of these guns make me a little bit uncomfortable. And yeah, we got their fun. I think these look almost identical to the Leviathan ones, which makes sense. The Leviathan ones are an upgraded version of this, or like, well, a downgraded version, because they only have the one type of gun. Yep. So less said about this one, the better, I think. Less said about I really do feel like the Games Workshop, what is it, High Fleet Leviathan? Is that the purple and pink? I can't remember who it is, what High Fleet it is that this color scheme is based on. But the kind of official color scheme for Tyranids, the fleshy pink kind of makes things worse, I think. Like, somebody was looking at some pictures when they were doing this. I refuse to believe that they weren't. I want to see the Google search history of Games Workshop employees. Release the Google tapes. Michael says, are the new Tyranid models good enough? Nothing but clickbait in the hottest of takes, eh? Well, Michael, considering the fact that we're asking and answering the question, are the new Tyranid models good enough? Explain to me how that's clickbait. Unless you mean clickbait is basically any sort of intriguing title at all, in which case I agree with you. That's what clickbait is, I think. It baits people into clicking. The bad type of clickbait is where it doesn't deliver on the promise. The good type of clickbait is where we go, are these models good enough? And you say, let me know, chat, are they good enough? I think they're fine. I think they're good, honestly. I think they're okay. I think that they're in, so far, we haven't looked at them all yet. But so far, they are kind of glow-ups. They're like HD versions. It's like you're playing a game in PlayStation 2, and now these are like HD versions. I do have some like kind of quibbles with with some of the design things, but overall, I think that these are good models. I think these are pretty cool models. I think that if you had swam back through the time stream 20 years and said to Little Discourse and said, hey Discourse, check out these models, what do you think about these? I'm from the future and I brought these new Tyranid models just for you. My response would be, why would you come back 20 years and only bring some new Warhammer models? Why didn't you bring anything of value? But then I would say, these look pretty cool. These look pretty neat. And then if it were me, I would tell myself about Bitcoin. But, you know, they certainly are models, says Olaf. Primo take. Lilith Hill says, clickbait is when you want people to watch your videos. Yes. They are a little pink, but I like them. I like them too. I like their tongues. It's I'm a big fan of. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. All right, let's look at the Lictor. Stealthy Lictors. The old Lictor. Okay, let's contextualize this new model. Let's look at the old one, and then we'll be able to like go, okay, right, okay. So, see, this is kind of my problem. A lot of my memories, because I don't play against a lot of these older models. A lot of my memories of Lictors come from Dawn of War 2. You could play a Lictor hero in Dawn of War 2, and that thing looked fucking badass, dude. That thing looked badass as hell. But in my memory, I've conflated this miniature with Dawn of War 2. So I would look at any new model, I'd be like, that's okay, it's a little bit of a glow up. But now I'm looking at this thing, I'm gonna bet that there has been quite an improvement. Because this, look, he's got a lovely face. He's got a little bit of an angry, he's got the big claws, but definitely showing its age for sure. Definitely showing its age. Dungeon says, how could they have improved them further besides having them grow better ranged weapons? Are you talking about Games Workshop or the Hive? The Hive Fleet. The Hive Fleet could, I don't know, the Hive Fleet could make them thinner or something, harder to hit. Give them guns for hands. Games Workshop, I mean, honestly, I feel like Games Workshop have done a good job at like bringing them up crisply into HD. I guess my concern is just that they don't look super modular in terms of the posability. But I guess as models, they're kind of limited in how well you can pose them, right? They're not like human models that can be kind of like, I got a hand up here and a hand down here, you know? Okay, so this is the Lictor. Let's look at him. Stealthy Lictors leap out of the shadows. So we're dealing with the stealthy guy here. Sometimes even the ineffable mind of the Hive Fleet is aware that a little finesse and blood-curdling terror is more effective than the weight of numbers it tends to prefer as the ultimate solution to every problem. All right, so we got ourselves like an assassination guy. So this is what he looked like. Let's see what he looks like now. Ooh. The tease. Oh. Okay, that is very nice. Oh, this is that guy. Oh, this is like the cloak dude. We've seen this guy. And he does look good. Ooh, look at them. Reminds me of something that the Deep would be into. Huh. Okay. Damn. All right, so we got like 3 models here. All right, these look pretty good. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I like these. As always, a lot of this stuff is subjective. Andrew says, I think the models look more detailed now. Up to you how you paint them. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have a color scheme. My turn in color scheme is red and black, basically. So my one wouldn't look quite so much like things that would get this stream demonetized. My stream's been getting demonetized for some reason anyway, so maybe I shouldn't care. Hey, it's a Dark Eldar. Hey, check him out. It's like Sully in Monsters Inc. Hey, Ma! Look where I am. Okay, so this thing here is pretty cool. It's pretty weird. Okay, so there's a foot here. Let's try and see if we get a better look at it. All right. I love this. I actually really like this. I think this looks really good. This looks really good. I'm actually a really big fan of this. So I love these talents. I think the talents look really cool. I think they're a huge improvement on these. I think they're huge. They just look a lot more intimidating. This is obviously a Monopoo's model, but I think the Lictor is more of a character, so it's kind of fine. The head looks great. I do like the tendril things. It is the Cthulhu-esque kind of Deep One style tendril things. I like his thong vibe aesthetic that he's got going on down here. And yeah, he's got a little bit of a base, but it's not too bad. And what is that? It looks like a little bit of a Tyranid bit kind of coming out of the ground. I think this model looks really cool. I think it looks intimidating. I think it looks kind of scary. It doesn't look like the stealthiest thing in the world, but I don't think the Lictor ever really did look super stealthy. I guess it hunches over and kind of creeps around. Not everything is Lovecraft, says Game Master Gev. Yeah, not everything is Lovecraft, but the Tyranids are. Because the Tyranids are very cosmic horror as a faction. And cosmic horror in the kind of latter half of the 20th century owes a lot to Lovecraft, right? Like, Lovecraft is part of the weird horror tradition, and cosmic horror owes a lot to Lovecraft. I'm not sure if he originated it, but definitely in like he in his weird tales, he is the height of weird fiction, and cosmic horror comes from that. So like, I'm not gonna say the Space Marines are very Lovecraftian. They're not at all, but Tyranids are pretty Lovecraftian. They're pretty Lovecraftian, and they're pretty like modern incarnation of Lovecraft as well. You know, modern incarnation, very tendril heavy, very kind of Fantasy Flight game style, where there's everything's got tendrils and blah, 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 and it's like all squid monsters and that. And they've got that vibe. They've got that vibe. My super chat's not firing today. No. Okay, hold up, guys. We gotta fix that. What's going on there? It's not. Oh my. All right, hold up. Firstly, Rolandson, thank you very much for joining. Welcome to the Advocate tier. Thank you very much. And then we've got RPG Archivist. Thank you very much for the $5 donations. Says, do you think GW will start making firsts as well as Primaris? Makes sense from the lore. And they'd make more money. What do you mean by that, RPG Archivist? They start, like, as in first legions? Or, I actually don't know. As in firstborns. Do you think they'll start making firstborns? I actually think, so in terms of Primaris, by the way, I think they're getting away from Primaris. I think that they're moving into having everything be firstborn / Primaris. The way they've done the new Terminators aren't explicitly firstborn. They aren't explicitly firstborn or Primaris. They're a mix, but the armor is still bigger. I think they're just going to start putting firstborn in bigger armor. The same thing with the Black Templar. The chaplain for the Black Templar model, it's as big as a Primaris, but it's like, ooh, is it firstborn? Is it not? I think they're going to start doing that more, just because they've gotten everybody who had a firstborn army, they've all bought Primaris stuff now, so it's kind of done. They don't need it anymore. Now they're just going to keep releasing new models. I think, honestly, I genuinely do. I think that that's their plan going forward. Thank you very much for the donation. I really do appreciate that. Cryptokev says, really hitting on the English already for $2. Hey, I love my East Ireland compatriots. I have nothing but love in my heart. I have nothing but love in my heart generally, but towards my East Ireland compatriots, you are very welcome to the stream. No hate here. Homogeneous says Dungeons and Dreadnoughts. Yes, exactly. Mind Flayers says Animeister. Well, yeah, the Mind Flayers, and I assume the Mind Flayers are based on Lovecraft horror. Okay, let's see here. So let me pull back. So I kind of like this model. I think it looks pretty cool. I actually like this thing. The hooves always throws me with Tyranids. The fact that they have hooves always throws me. So that looks neat. I like this. I like the brain. Some of the newer models from Leviathan have this. Have this vibe. I had some beans. Have this vibe. They've got like this exposed brain element, and I think that's kind of cool. I think that's neat. I do like that. What's going on here, though? I'm kind of a little bit confused about what's going on with the leg. Is there a leg here? Have to have a look-see. And this thing is badass. We've seen this, this has been out for a while now. I really like this thing. There is definitely a designer in the Games Workshop design studio who has a thing for half cloaks. You see this little cloak here? This like little flap of flesh. There is a designer in Games Workshop who like loves these bad boys. He loves these little guys. There are so many models I keep seeing come out of Games Workshop where there's like just random half cloak flowing from them. And fair enough, I do think they look pretty neat. Any words, thoughts on Legion Imperialis? Asks Alan. Not really, to be honest. I think I kind of wish it wasn't Horus Heresy. I'm not the biggest fan of the Horus Heresy setting, and I play a lot of Xenos armies, so it kind of doesn't interest me from that perspective, to be honest. I think there was already one that was based. So I kind of, I'm also not a big fan of non-28mm wargaming. I've been trying to get into a smaller scale game, but if I were to get into a smaller scale game, I don't think that it's that it's. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Epic. Oh, you're talking about their ending of yeah. So ending of a game always sucks. The ending of a game always sucks. This is kind of the lifespan of a lot of box products from Games Workshop that aren't Necromunda or Kill Team or Warcry, basically. Every other game, or Blood Bowl, in fairness. It will probably return at some stage, but it does suck to see a game that you really love kind of die. That does suck. As someone who's a big fan of Warhammer Fantasy, you know, I feel that one. That one looks just wicked, says Winston, and I do agree. I think this one looks absolutely badass. I think the color scheme for this one really suits it. I think the purple really, really works with this one. And I see with this model, I feel like there's a bit less emphasis on weird phallic flesh guns. And so I think that I prefer that, honestly. I mean, I know that there is a conception of me of being a big bad dragon fan, but I prefer this vibe, I think, for the Tyranids. This guy's face is so gnarly. This guy is very intimidating. Like, you would not want to bump into this guy in the dead of night. You just would not want to bump into him. So yeah, pretty cool. I like this. Wait. While all these creatures can find a home in the standard Invasion Force detachment, they excel in the Vanguard Assault detachment, one of the new detachments you can look forward to in Codex Tyranids. Okay. We're being happy place today. We're being happy place today. Happy place. Focused on sowing terror within enemy ranks before blindsiding them with lightning fast flanking assaults. This attachment allows Deathleapers to take up the role of Warlord, using goading imperatives to coordinate his allies in lethal assaults. This does look like a villain. Like, it does look like almost like a super villain. So this is pretty cool. I really like it. I think out of the three of them, I think this is my favorite. The Deathleaper. I think this is my favorite. This one looks neat, and I do like the big brain for the psychic attacks. Is this the same? Is this based on the same model? Is there two are we getting? Right, so we got Lictors. The Hive Mind has not rested on its sinewy laurels since creating the perfect assassin. Am I wrong? Is this the same model? Guys, help me. Yeah, what's the fat one? What's going on here? What is this thing? What's this one? Oh, it can be built. So I'm being told it can be built in two ways. That's cool. I like that. Okay, that's pretty neat. I like that. I am a fan of that. Thank you very much for the $5 donation, Red. Says, in the fiction, the weapon is just as much a living creature as the one carrying it. Some tyrannic organs could be considered individual animals. Oh, okay, Red. Well, thank you very much for the lore injection there. And let me tell you right now, I played in a game of Rogue Trader, not the first edition of Warhammer, but the RPG, and I played as a Rogue Trader, and I was playing a character who was obsessed with collecting alien Xenos artifacts, just to collect for his collection. He died while raiding a Necron tomb world. Unfortunately, the servitors weren't enough to kill all the Necrons. But he collected a Tyranid gun, and whenever he first fired it, it pricked him and kind of infected his hand. And I kind of got the vibe that thing was alive. So thank you very much for letting me know. This provided some like exposition for a game I played in 6 or 7 years back. So thank you very much for that one. Dawn says, I like the big brain with the tail. I want them to be less humanoid, so that explains my preference. That's fair. I dig the brain one looks good. I'm a big fan of the brain one in the Leviathan box, but I do like the little sexy half cape this guy's got going. I think part of the preference here is the kind of paint job as well. I just really like the paint job on this one. All right, let's see. Whoa, okay, hold on. I just saw like the thumbnail for the next one. Okay. Warhammer Preview, the Biovore and Pyrovore are horrifying living artillery. Do not Google this or this. A Tyranid invasion is an experience of true and unrelenting horror. The sky darkens as fleshy spore pods rain down from the heavens, expelling toxic clouds and ravenous beasts. On the ground, gigantic monsters lumber forth to crack open vital formations, allowing a flood of alien bioforms to devour those within. Okay, living artillery. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Ooh, okay, I like that. Okay, I dig that. I like them. Okay, this is looking pretty cool. What the guys? Oh my god, I feel like these things should have like an age rating. What the fuck? All right, okay. Wow. Okay, so first up, okay. Right, there's a lot to unpack. Okay, we're going to open this box. We're going to open the box, guys. Okay. I dig this model. I really love the kind of like the beetle here. This like the big terraform. I think the Biovore already had a model, right? Yeah, there it is. Look at this girthy lad. Look at this fella. Oh my god. Mr. Chungus over here, right? So we've got Mr. Chungus. This is potentially one of the biggest glow-ups I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at that. From this to this. This is incredible. This is like a reimagining. This is like a reimagining of that previous model. And I love it. I love it. Does it take batteries? F and Dave is asking. So this looks really cool. I actually really like this thing. I really like this thing. Yeah, so this looks really cool. I really like it. I really love the carapace, the kind of beetle vibe. I think it looks way better than this thing. This thing looks more like kind of artillery that would go bloop. Whereas this thing looks like it kind of reminds me, it does remind me a little bit of the Starship Troopers, the ones that shoot the big thing out of their butt. Only it's got a gun. And it's got these little guys following it around. Well, that's neat. That's neat. They're the organic weapons from Cronenberg's Existence, says Peter Dickinson. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Evil Sponge says, I like the fat Ned more. Well, you know. Horses for courses, I think. Horses for courses. Yeah, it looks cool. I really dig it. And this thing, so this is the Pyrovore. The Pyrovore, on the other hand, is a creature designed to help its hive fleet pre-digest the toughest minerals and biomass. Like a mother bird chewing out worms for its chick. If the worms were ceramite-clad space marines. Okay, so this one is a firing platform. It digs its chitin-barbed legs deep into the ground to absorb the shuddering recoil of its weapon. I'll bet. These tentacled orbs instinctively float towards prey like malicious alien balloons before bursting and showering their targets with bone shards, toxic gas, and corrosive fluids. Alright, little bubbles. It's not what I expected. I thought it would it would spew out in a kind of vicious gush, I suppose. Just throbbing out of it. This thing looks, I guess, more like that. So this is the Pyrovore. Oh god, it looks so gross. It looks so gross. I kind of love that about it. I kind of love that it looks really gross. Okay, so the beast's network of stomach gurgles with biochemical nastiness, which drools from its acidic maw and erupts from its dorsal symbiote as caustic jets of flammable gas. A Pyrovore can engulf entire squads into chemical fire, melting armor and flesh ahead of its consumption. Disgusting, but effective. The hive mind clearly hasn't found time to evolve its table manners. So... yeah, this is like a big weird gun bug thing. I kind of like it. The guns are very similar, I guess. I kind of wish they were a little bit more different. But they look okay. I think a problem I'm going to have with the Tyranids is actually trying to tell their guns apart. I think that is actually going to be a little bit of an issue for me. Yeah. It is absolutely hideous, Winston. It is absolutely hideous. It's absolutely gross, and I think that's cool. I think that works totally for the Tyranid. I think that definitely is a vibe. Like, one of the things I will say about Warhammer is that I really like the art style from Warhammer, because it's not super traditional fantasy or sci-fi rather. Same way is just Sigmar, by the way. It's not traditional fantasy at all. But Warhammer 40k is very untraditional like sci-fi. I guess it is fantasy as well. They take a lot of inspiration from other sources, and you can 100% see that, but they always kind of transform it into their own little thing. Like Sisters of Battle, for instance. I've been building and painting a bunch of Sisters of Battle recently, and I love them. Like, they're such a different type of force that you would see compared to most other sci-fi settings. And I mean, sure, we've seen big bugs before, like in other sci-fi things, like Starship Troopers, but this is very different. This is a brave model. This is a very brave model. Thank you very much for the $5 donation, Red. Says, it can go so far as the weapon controlling the main body if the head or main brain is destroyed. Imagine blowing the head off and it stands back up. Okay, that is actually pretty spooky, Red. That is actually pretty spooky. And it's the gun in charge now. Oh, God. Now the gun's in charge. So I guess maybe that's what was happening to my Rogue Trader character. Maybe I was getting infected and the gun was becoming a part with me. My character's response to that, by the way, was to put a glove on. The hand was like clearly becoming infected. I just put a glove on. Best not think about these things. So thank you very much for the donation there. It's kind of a little bit of a zombie vibe. I did not know that the gun was like so separate. And I do kind of like that. I do kind of like that, yeah. Ronaldson says, hi Discourse, I hope you're doing well. Will you be playing Combat Patrol with Tyranids? And what are your thoughts on Combat Patrol so far? And that's a £5 donation. Thank you very much, Ronaldson. I really do appreciate that. Will help put away the cost for some of that Cloud Lifter that broke on me today at the very beginning of this stream. I have not played the Tyranids Combat Patrol. I have played against the Tyranids Combat Patrol though, as the Space Marine Combat Patrol, and so there's a lot to pick apart here. I've been playing a lot of Combat Patrol recently because I'm planning to review it on the channel. Spoilers, I'm a huge fan of Combat Patrol. I'm actually a really big fan of it. I really like it, and there's a lot to praise about Combat Patrol. A lot to praise. I'm actually probably going to be talking about it a little bit in this stream after we look at these Tyranid models. The Combat Patrol is really, really cool. I'm actually a big fan. The Tyranid one specifically is really interesting. So it's made up of everything in the Leviathan box. I think that the new Space Marine Combat Patrol that consists of the Librarian and Terminator armor, a Captain, 5 Flamethrower Space Marines, and 5 Terminators. And that's it. That's all you get in the Combat Patrol. I think that kind of sucks. It's a really weird Combat Patrol. I think it's a really bad introduction to Combat Patrol. I just don't think it works very well. The Tyranid one, in contrast, though, is really good. You get like 20 Termagants with guns. You get a couple of, you get like a big spewy guy. I don't know the names of any of the Tyranid stuff, guys. I'm really sorry. You get a big spewy guy, and you get some like shooters and things. They've got like a nice variety of models, which I think is really important. They also get some really interesting stratagems. So their Termagants, they die real quick to those flamethrowers from those Space Marines. Let me tell you, they get killed really quickly. But the fun part about them is they come back. So a stratagem that the Tyranids have in Combat Patrol is that their Termagants can regenerate, can come back onto the board, which means they're like this endless swarm. And I really dig that. There's a lot of Combat Patrols that are obviously kind of weaker, like the Imperial Guard one, that have stratagems and additions, like enhancements and things that make their Combat Patrol stronger. And I think that's really, really cool. So I will talk about Combat Patrol overall thoughts. Awesome. I really like it. I will be going into more detail in a video, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit soon on the stream. But thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that. F and Dave says you should always wear gloves to avoid infection. Definitely. Crypto Kev, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Says, I want a GW to release a Craft World set so you can suffer through another live stream. Craft World Eldar for the win. Am I right, Glenn? So Crypto Kev, thank you very much for the $5 donation. I play against, for those who do not know, I play against a lot of Eldar. I got two friends who main Eldar. So I play against them a lot. I have a couple other friends who are interested in Eldar and have little Eldar forces. So I bump into Eldar a lot. I do not collect Eldar myself, but I fight against them. I fight against them a bunch. And Crypto Kev is lovingly referencing the fact that I absolutely hate fighting them. They're so fast. They do so much damage, and yeah, that's it's been my curse. It's been my curse. I will say this much though: one of the things I like by playing as Sisters of Battle is Sisters of Battle do not get to bully people very often, but they do get to bully Eldar. So yeah, you're gonna get bullied, Eldar. I don't mind the models. There are some models in Eldar that I really like, and there are some models in Eldar I don't care for. It's basically it. I actually really like fire dragons. I really like banshees, but I'm not like the biggest fan of the big kind of cone heads. But thank you very much for the $5 donation. I'm sure Glenn will appreciate that. For those who don't know, Glenn is my editor. Red says 40k is 2000 AD on June on Starship Trooper, on Dark Fantasy, and heavy metal album covers. Oh yeah, I mean the amount of influences that 40k has is like I actually did do a video on it. I you go back, I have I think it was a 3-minute video where I bang out over each faction and say what the inspirations for those are, and I think I go over each Imperial Guard regiment as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of, like, Warhammer is very unoriginal in the sense that it has really taken, I haven't read Dune Red, but I've heard that it really has pulled from Dune, like the whole God Emperor thing is from Dune. All I know about Dune is I played the 1990s RTS game, and I remember some of the full motion cutscenes of the Harkonnen campaign. But apart from that, I haven't read Dune. I haven't watched the movie or anything, either of the movies. But yeah, a lot of heavy metal album covers. There is a reason, I think, why whenever you walk into any Games Workshop store, they're always playing like early 2000s era rock and heavy metal. But thank you very much for the $5 donation. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that is let me tell you guys, these Tyranid models are a real trip. I think they're really cool. I think that this is like a model that you would put down on the table and feel embarrassed about, but for a different reason from this one. So that's great. I think that's really cool. I think this thing looks cool. I think it looks really good. And I really dig the idea of, like, you know, the big flamethrowers coming out of the back of them. Like, I like this idea of the bug operating as a gun platform. I think that's really neat. The Norn Emissary. So I'm gonna be honest, guys, I don't know where Norn is. I keep hearing of these things called like the Norn Queens and stuff. I don't know what Norn is, so sorry. Warhammer preview: cower before the apex horrors of the hive mind. Amongst the teeming multitude of ravenous horrors that make up the Tyranid hive fleets, there are a few towering beasts that stride above the swarm. The will of the hive fleet made manifest in an abhorrent behemoth. The latest of these are the Norn Emissary and the Norn Assimilator. Creatures spawned when the hive mind has a crucial goal it simply must accomplish. Oh, okay, wow, all right. This thing's pretty gnarly. Wait, look. Is that a Tyranid warrior? Is that to scale? Is this thing like Wraith Knight sized? This thing is big. Does this thing get plunging fire? The Norn Emissary is perhaps the ultimate synapse creature, bigger and nastier than even a hive tyrant. They are evolved for the singular purpose of preying on gifted commanders or abducting knowledge prey from heavily defended strongholds. Oh, these are like brain bugs, but they're really fucking scary. Okay, hold on. Tarrowing Assassin. Very crisp detail. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, this thing looks badass. Okay, this looks pretty cool. So generally, I'm not like a big fan of the big, massive, flashy models, but this thing is pretty fucking cool, to be honest. Before battle, the Norn Queen abuses this Goliath with the distilled knowledge it needs to succeed in its mission, with which it prosecutes with a combination of brute strength and incredible psionic power, backed up by a frankly unnatural degree of agility for a creature of its size. How big is this thing? It looks fucking cool. It looks like the ultimate Tyranid. It does look like the ultimate Tyranid warrior. This is like one of those little Termagants from earlier, but like on steroids. This thing is badass. It's got the hooves. Always with the hooves. It always throws me off. It's got the exposed brain. This thing's got like a little bit of everything. All the best parts. All the different little design aesthetics from the Tyranids. The brain, the claw, like the talons. Yeah, this thing's pretty badass. Get some more details here. What's this? What's going on here? Actually, the model's a little bit busy. I don't know if it's just the angle. It's kind of hard to tell what the hell's going on. I think the base is maybe a bit much. I kind of feel like this model might have done better with less detailed base, because it would have accentuated the model more, right? The base right now, it feels like it sinks into the base. I'm finding it difficult to distinguish from the base in the model. But that could just be the angle of the photography. Am I right, though? It seems like this thing's an assassination model. Wait, is that a... No, that's a Wraith Lord, right? Okay, so it's bigger than a Wraith Lord, but the Wraith Lords are kind of small these days. Can I get it in context? So, is this sit on a platform above these things, or are these like... Does anyone know how big this thing is? How big is this bad boy? I want to know how big it is, because it looks really fucking big. It looks really big. Like, really scary big. What's kind of throwing me off, though, is this thing meant to be an assassin? Is this thing meant to be an assassin, guys? Because it feels very big. Nedzilla Kaiju, says Doobie Man. Yeah. Fry Lord Food says, for a moment, I thought she was referring to the heavy metal adult fantasy magazine. Heavy metal, yeah. That's like one of my favorite comics. One of my favorite magazines. I actually have a load of the old ones. I bought a load of them. I think it's badass. I love the art style. Crypto Kev says Norns in West Ireland, I think. Well, yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right. It's of course they're the Norn Emissary from Norn Ireland. Norn Ireland. That's where Norn is. Of course, I live there. Duh. Welcome to Norn Ireland. That's what happens every single time. This thing like shows up. This thing like shows up. It's like, welcome to Norn Ireland. No, Norn Ireland says no. Kurnuno says heavy metal mag is awesome, represents the 70s and 80s to me. Yeah. Winston Smith says pretty nightmarish. It is huge. It is pretty big. It is pretty big. Girl Opinion says the Nord are basically the big main bug queen inside a hive ship. Okay, cool. So this thing's bigger than a Wraith Knight, says Effin. Not that big, says Spec Nos. Okay. It's standing on a higher platform. All right, okay. Winston says it's bigger than an Elder Titan. Lord Tuesday says it's smaller. There is debate and discussion happening in the chat as to how big this thing really is. Do we have any images of it in context? Red Foreman, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very cool of you. June has a far future God Emperor, Golden Throne, Navigators. 40k was mainly Warhammer Fantasy plus June. Yeah, okay, okay, that's sounding extremely similar. God Emperor, check. Golden Throne, check. Navigators, 40k. Does it have like the warp and stuff? That'd be kind of cool. There's no way this will be Forge World, I don't think, Crypto Kev. I don't think this thing will be Forge World. I think this is plastic, right? I think this is hard plastic. He is a proper pretty boy. He is El Gordo, he is. Yeah, very cool. Red says also las guns, mind powers, ancient machine uprising, and replace computers with augmented people. Okay, that is That is very, very 40k. It is. I haven't read it, but yeah, that's sounding very, very 40k. You're taking down 40k right now. Stop it! Stop it! He's already dead. So this thing is like massive, to be honest. So Winston's saying, I think it is, in the lore, one was hunting Lord Solar Leonidas. So I read that lore. I read all the lore in the new rulebook, and I heard of these things kind of stalking the Lord Solar. But the way it was described in the book, it sounded like it was more like a Genestealer. Like it kind of would sneak around and could kind of fit inside crevices and things. This thing ain't getting in no fucking crevice. This thing is not getting in no crevice. Unless it is violently getting inside there. The crevice is like expanding to fit it. It's not like this thing is huge. How the hell is this thing sneaking up on the Lord Solar? It's like the sentries were really not doing their fucking job that day when this thing got past the line. Reminds me of Ramsay Bolton's 10 Good Men. It's like, all I need is one good Norn emissary and I'll be able to take him down. It's kind of wild, honestly. Renegade Cole says there's a Wraith Lord and a Wraith Knight in the picture below the page. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. So it looks like it's just about bigger. It looks just about bigger than the Wraith Lord. Yeah. Dark Vault Art says, with the skill of 40k spaceships, there be crevices. All right, you got me there. It's squishy like a squid. Pixie, you don't like the look of it? You don't like the look of this thing? It's a very busy model, but I think it kind of works for the model. I would like to see it in person. I think it looks kind of neat, but it does have a lot going on. I would want to see it in person, I think. The base is adding a lot of height to the model as well, I suppose. Yeah, I guess it's adding a lot of height to the model. Is that the Assimilator as well then? Or the Assimilator... Oh, okay. So this is like a different version of that model. In the face of such raw alien power, running is the only sensible decision. In its infinite alien wisdom, the hive mind has already thought this through. So the Norn Assimilator packs a pair of massive tox injector harpoons to pinion its prey in place. So it looks like this one can go and shoot out little bits from its like rib cage. Okay. Less talons, more ping ping. Whereas this one's more, I'm not gonna get you and just claw you. Fair enough. So pretty nice. What's new then? So some of these, because a lot of these were like just glow ups. These are just like range refreshes. So we had the Hornagant and Termagant range refresh. Genestealer's range refresh. Lictor range refresh. The Biovore and Pyrovore are refreshes, but like to be honest, they're basically new models. Like they're almost entirely new models. And the Lictor and Neurolictor came with another variation that hasn't been seen before. So that's cool. And then the Norn Emissary and Assimilator, totally new. Totally new. So overall, I think pretty cool models. I think pretty nice additions to the Tyranids. I'm not sure whether or not, this is like one of those things that people dare not ask. It's like the question people... I'm not sure whether or not the Tyranids needed more, you know? Like, I think range refreshes are good. I'm not sure whether or not they needed new units. I know people don't like to ask that question because everybody loves new models, but from a gameplay perspective, I'm not sure if they, like, had any spaces. It's like one of those things where people keep telling me, like, oh, the Genestealer cultists, they need more units. They need new units. And I'm like, why? What are they missing? like, oh, we need new things. It's like, we've got everything we need, you know? Like, we're not a faction that needs to have like a big heavy tank or anything. We're like a rebel faction. Like, I think having cars and bikes and stuff is fine. We don't need anything new. We've already got like 20 characters. We've got a pretty good troop choice. We got variation in the builds. But people love to have new miniatures for the armies that they collect, you know? One concern I do have is that with a range refresh comes $$$$. That's like a concern I have. That is a concern I have. Oh, thank you very much for the £10 donation. Peter Dickinson, thank you very much. Celebrate. Can we get a cheer for the first super chat from Peter Dickinson? Thank you very much, Peter. Woo! Let's do a little choo-choo. Get some hype. Woo! That's yeah, woo. That's pretty awesome. Thank you very much. It's very cool. Looks plenty stabby, says Sinner. It does look plenty stabby. Yeah. It's very brain bug, says Gaz. It is very brain bug. So Dubby Man is saying £100 at least for the Nidzilla. I don't know. Well, maybe actually. Whoa, yeah, you're right. Hold on. The lion was £100, wasn't he? Oh, Jesus, guys. Yeah, get that hype going. Thank you for the hype there, guys. For Peter Dickinson. Thank you very much, Peter. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah. More options. That's what the Nids need, this band. Fair enough. Okay, that's fair. Sandra says it seems with the new stuff, GW have increases prices on the sly. Yeah, the prices have gone up. The prices have gone up twice. They've gone up once to your local store and then again for consumers this year, which is kind of a bummer. So let's look. Let's do a little. Let's see. So we're gonna look at the price of the lion. Let's look up Mr. Lion Man. £42.50, and he comes by himself. Pretty pricey, but it's not £100. At least. It's not £100 at least. How much is this if we were in Yankee Doodle Dandy Land? Let's see. Oh, we're looking at Horse Heresy character series. Get me out of here. No. Oh, wow. Mortarian's $170, huh? Oh, Jesus. Alright, how much is the lion? So I think it used to be more because he came with like 3 other models. So $70. Jeez. It's pricey. Very pricey. I imagine that I have to imagine that the God, am I just out of touch now with Warhammer pricing? Is it gonna be more than that? Is it gonna be more than $70? Freedom units, says Evan Dave. Yeah. Oh geez, no way. Okay, let's look at a sort of comparable giant monster. What would it be? What would be a comparable monster? Lion got the same price than Gulliman. Yeah. Pixie says, I think that's the 6th price rise they've done since they priced me out last year. Yeah, it's kind of pricey, right? Commander Dante there, $45. Oof. Like, the Kydian... Okay. Let's look up. So, the Kydian upgrade sprue is $35. 21 pounds. Alright, that's 21 quid. Whoo! Angron. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 100% you're right. Yeah, if Angron's £100, it's going to be £100. You're right. Yep. Yeah, $170. Oh, man. Oh. Jeez, guys. Oh, jeez. That is pricey. So, all right. Okay. So... all right, okay. So there's gonna be people obviously who play Warhammer and they maybe only play Warhammer and they're gonna say, hey, look, you know, the model cost a lot to design. There was a lot of work that went in the background. The models themselves, well, the plastic is inexpensive. The actual sprue design and the molds are very expensive, so they need to make their money back. Okay. I get that, okay? I get that there are expenses, for sure. However, these are severely overpriced. Like, they really are. So I don't even want to... Like, let's not even compare, okay? Because I don't know... In fairness to Games Workshop, there's not a huge amount of other manufacturers putting out miniatures, I think, at this size and price point. These are pretty... Because, like, these are big models, you know? I'd be interested, though... But really, like, when you look at it, it's 2 sprues. You know, it's 2 sprues, really. The size is one thing, but it's 2 sprues of plastic, really. So it's 2 molds. You know, it's like, or 1 mold, but it's the 2 sprues. But let's look at something more comparable. Let's look at Guardsman. Not even kill. We're not even gonna look at the kill team one. We're just gonna look at Guardsman. Wait, what do I? Oh, Gideon. Oh Jesus, I forgot. Okay, Gideon shock troops are $50 for 10 models. If my internet works. No, Games Workshop are trying to shut me down. They're trying to shut me down. It's happening. It's happening. All right, so temporarily out of stock online because there's a lot of Warhammer's really big at the minute because it's the launch of an edition. £30 sterling for 10 Gideon shock troops. All right, now let's go to the live table. Okay, excuse me. I've been painting some Sisters of Battle recently. I've been painting some Sisters of Battle models recently. So, yeah, you can check these guys out. Really nice models. I do like them. I also have a Games Workshop. They do very nice models. So, yeah, been doing a lot of these. But let's get these guys out of the way. All my little Arcoflagellants and all that. Let's scatter. Scatter out of my way, my pretties. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, so we're getting them out of the way. Because I want to show you. Oh. So, recently, Osprey sent me these out. So, I got these for free. So, bias. Just putting it out there. Just being totally upfront. They sent me out Xenos Rampant, first of all. If you're interested in a sci-fi war game, I've heard really good things about it. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But they also sent me out these. So these are Stargrave. These are Stargrave. They are models. Oh, where's my... There we go. There we are. Stargrave models. These are 20 multi-part hard plastic 28mm figures. Scavengers. And these are pretty nice looking models, honestly. They're pretty cool. They're multi-part. They're posable. And in terms of the sprues, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sprues. I suspect that the same sprue repeated though. They look very similar if they're not identical. They look very similar. So they're 4 sprues, 20 models. And these cost, let's find out. Let's find out how much these cost. So we're gonna go back to the internet. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna search up Osprey Games Scavenger models. Okay. Reality's Edge. Where are these actually from? So these are from North Star Miniatures. Let's look them up. Okay. Okay, so here we go. These are really hard to find the price of. £43 for 40 miniatures. Okay, so £43 for 40 miniatures. Fair enough. Oh, this is a pre-order. Okay, so £43 for 40 for these. Or there is, alternatively, these have been out for a while now, so I know I'll be able to find these. Crew 2, exact same thing, only these are like female sci-fi models. Very kind of Rogue Trader vibe. These will be very easy to find. I think they're called Crew 2. Let's find them. Stargrave. Here we go. And for these, this is 20 models, 20 hard plastic models for £20. So it's £20 for these. For these, oh, sorry, you can't even see. So it's £20 for these guys here. 20 hard plastic kit. They look good. They're obviously not as well detailed. I will say that, like, they're not as well detailed. They're not as crisp, but they are posable. They are multi-part plastic kits, and they look good. They actually look really good. They look a lot more cartoonish, but that is like a design style. That is a design style. and they are £20 for these. £20 as compared to £30 for 10 guardsmen. So whenever I know that people are already tuning out, I'm sure, off the back of this, because people are always like, why do you always complain about the price? This is why, basically. This is why I can't help but bring up the price when I talk about Warhammer, because in comparison to all its competitors, Warhammer is extremely expensive. And I can't not know this. Like, I can't turn this part of my brain off, you know? Like, I can't not know that these Stargrave Crew 2 models, that's hard plastic, that you get 20 models in, is what was it? A quarter of the price? Right? Like, so it's 20 guys for £20 as opposed to £30 for 10. Like, yeah, 3 times the cost, says CryptoCav. So I can't not know this. Like, I'm sorry, I can't not know this. So yeah, like, this is just something to bear in mind. So whenever I talk about Warhammer, this is often in the back of my head. I'm aware of that. And that brings me to the new models. This is kind of my concern. It's always, all the time, whenever new Warhammer models get released. I love the look of a lot of new Warhammer models. Like, I love these new Termagants. But I can't help but look at these and go, oh, are these going to go up in price? Like, are these going to increase in price? Because they're already very expensive. How much are they right now? Termagants. Oh, are they not even available anymore? Have they been taken down? Oh, what? Yeesh. Okay, so are the new models like not available? Are the old models like not available anymore? Where's my Xenos? Oh, at the bottom. At the bottom, as per usual. Okay, no, here we go. So it's £27.50 right now for 10. So already these 12. You get 12. You get 12 of them. 12 multi-part plastic Hormagants. So you get 12 of them. Which is better than 10. So already though, like, the value is a little bit off. That is a lot closer to the Stargrave models though. That is a lot closer to the Stargrave models. That's a lot closer. And that's kind of the price point that I would expect it. But I'm concerned that the new ones are going to be, they're going to be a little bit pricey. I'm just worried that they're going to go up in price. I think the Guardian ones did. So I'm kind of concerned there. Cinder Live said Guilliman was $112 when he released. And then the Lion was $120. Oosh. Yeah, it is expensive. It is expensive. And my concern is that the price point gets pushed up a lot. So I like the hobby to be as accessible as possible. I like the maximum amount of people to be able to join, and that includes trying to reduce prices, trying to make game modes easier to play, which goes into the Combat Patrol stuff that I've been talking about. I've been talking about the new game mode from Games Workshop for Warhammer, which is Combat Patrol, that I think is pretty awesome because it encourages lower game sizes and tries to balance like pre-constructed armies against one another. And I actually think it's really fun. What it reminds me of is pre-con decks, like Commander mode in Magic the Gathering, where you buy a pre-constructed deck and you get to know your deck and you go up against other people. And you don't have to engage with like deck building. And it's the same with Warhammer. You don't have to engage with like list building. You buy Combat Patrol, boom. That's you're done. You've bought a Combat Patrol. You don't have to, there's no choices you make. You just build what the Combat Patrol has, what the list says you build. Then you choose like one enhancement. And then you choose one secondary objective out of 2. And away you go. I think it's a ton of fun. I think it's really good for casual play. And in theory, like, in all honesty, I think it would make for better competitive play than me and 2,000 points of Warhammer, honestly, right now. I actually feel like Warhammer falls apart. The bigger the game mode, like the bigger the game size, the more the game falls apart. And Combat Patrol, I think, is a good game size for the pacing, for the Yugo-Igo system. It really is. Dungeons Dreadnought says, if a company can get a CO cast, then it can make plastic minis via molds at a much cheaper price. Sir Nunos says, it's Wizards of the Coast crazy. Xander, that guy says, how can people not think about the price? See, I think for a lot of people, firstly, there's a lot of people where the price doesn't bother them. or they don't care about it that much because it doesn't impact their purchasing decision, right? Like they just think, like I was always going to buy this model. It doesn't matter how much it is, right? Like they just don't care. Whew. My hair is not doing what I want it to do today. They just don't care. Then there are people who they'll put up with the price because they're currently really enjoying it, right? Warhammer has a lot of churn. It just has a lot of churn. Like it's built into the game design, the business model of the game. There's a lot of people right now. You're going to see a lot of people getting into Warhammer over 10th edition. There's a lot of people coming in to play Warhammer right now. They are not going to be here in a couple of years. They're just not. This is why Warhammer has such frequent new editions compared to like lots of other stuff. There's a new edition of Warhammer very frequently. And the reason for that is because new editions are an opportunity for new people to get back into the game. It always pulls in more people back. But Games Workshop churn through that base until you're just down to like the kind of the what they would call power users, right? Like the ones who are going to spend a lot of money. So that's the thing. Like Warhammer is designed to extract a lot of money at once. The new hobbyists are the ones who spend the most. Newer hobbyists. I think it's estimated that they'll spend like a couple thousand in their first year. So like new hobbyists are the ones who are going to spend the most money, and that's what the kind of the business model of Games Workshop is designed around. This is something that I don't like. I don't like that being the business model. I prefer Warhammer to be a much more affordable game to play. And Wargaming is pretty affordable. Wargaming is a very affordable. Like I mean, if you look at that, like if you want to play Stargrave, you buy this box. This is £20. It's like $30. You get 20 models. That's the models you need for Stargrave, because this comes with options. It's multi-part. That's all you need to buy. I mean, sure, you could pick up the Scavengers one because you're like, hey, these models look really cool, because they do look really cool. You're like, hey, I want to buy these ones. This is, again, 20 models for £20. That's you done. That's all you need, really. You just need that one box. So, like, Wargaming is pretty affordable. You know, maybe you buy the actual Stargrave, like, book, and you're basically done. With 40k, however, 40k is an extremely expensive endeavor. But that's why I am excited for Combat Patrol. Because with Combat Patrol, geez, let me see if I've got a box. With Combat Patrol, you just need to buy, you just need to buy this thing, right? You buy this, and you're like, boom. I've bought a Combat Patrol. I am done. And look, they're always pushing this on people anyway. They're always pushing this on people anyway. But you buy this box. This is the Warhammer. This is the Warhammer equivalent of this box. Obviously, the price points are very different. Obviously, they're very different. But I like that idea about Combat Patrol, that you just need to buy this and then you're kind of done. My problem with Combat Patrol right now is that I feel like Combat Patrols are a little bit overpriced. The Combat Patrols themselves, I think, could stand to be a good bit cheaper. They're like £95. I think they could be around the £60 to £70 mark. I think would be a better price point for them. Like there's like 27 miniatures in there. A vehicle though, which is big. But I think like £60, £70. 75 maybe at a push. Terrence Milner says, you want affordable gas lamps and some dollar cars and toothpicks. Fair. Dungeons and Dreadnought says, Stargrave, I aim to make something like this with my game, Gloom and Glory, working on funding a COcast for physical products instead of 3D printed. Pixie says you can get a box of Stargrave plastic for £18 at some independent shops. £25 RRP, I think. Hey, Shieldwall Dragon says, what's up, everyone? Hello there, Shieldwall. No, we're just looking at we were looking at some Tyranids, and we're talking about Combat Patrol and affordability of miniatures. Classic topics. Winston Smith says, wow, that is a nice price. Nice looking figures, too. Yeah, I mean, lots of wargame miniatures out there look absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Southland Nilo says, I painted 70 Temptitious Scions for 210 grams of resin. That's around $8. Oh, you printed them. Yeah. But obviously you got to get the STL files as well, but yeah. There's like a big upfront investment with 3D printing, but once you've got there, then you're pretty sweet. Crypto so it's £1 per Stargrave model and £3 per model for Cadians. Yeah, it's like, yeah. 3D printing is cheaper than ever, Dungeons. Yeah, 3D printing is cheaper than ever. It's gotten way more affordable. It really has gotten way more affordable. Terrence Miller says, someone on the internet did a great video about chasing whales. Wasn't that me? Didn't I do that video? Because I've done 2 videos about that. One for Warhammer. I did one for Dungeons and Dragons as well, which was a the Warhammer one was this is how the model works, which is unfortunate. But the Dungeons and Dragons, I guess, one, the Wizards of the Coast focused one, was kind of like, hear ye, let there be a warning. This is how a kind of cyber landscape of seals could work for Dungeons and Dragons in the future. It's all good discourse, but who plays it, Sis Center? That is the correct question. That is the correct question. And the big problem we have in wargaming. But who plays it? Warhammer 40k has a critical mass. So it's really tough to play another game. That's like a big struggle. There's like local metas. There's like little bubbles where people will play different games. But yeah, that is a big problem. That is a big problem. How can I teach these kids? That's how I feel sometimes. Doing the Cartman impression. OG Field says, I don't play tournaments, so I just buy 3D printed proxies, not stolen 40k prints, just similar models. Yeah, you know, I feel like proxies are totally sweet, totally cool. Zender Theory says, shout out to Demon Chef. Shout out indeed. I think Malev and Blackside Studios, who I'm gonna say right now, whenever Blackside Studios are like a massive company in a couple of years and everyone's talking about them, I've been singing their praises for a while now. So I was on the cart for a while, but I'm really happy to see how they've grown from like Don't Look Back till now, where they're like actually publishing third party games now. It's really cool. I just wish that they would have better distribution into Europe, but it's another thing. Because right now they're like unaffordable to get if you're like in the UK or you're in Europe, but in America, great. And Demon Ship looks awesome. It's a really cool idea. And I love the micro game aesthetic to it. It's really cool. My army doesn't even have a box for Combat Patrol, says Sinner Live. What do you collect, Sinner? What do you collect? Luke says, that's what Rogue Trader 40k was like when it first started. Shield Dragon says, LOL, nothing quite like a discourse, a live stream energy. Oh, you should have seen it earlier whenever we were looking at the age-gated Tyranid models. 100 points, says Duncan Bell. Yeah. Jackie Moore says, price is important. GW realized that the 2,000 point standard has become too expensive, so Combat Patrol is the quick fix for starters. It treats the symptom, not the cause of the problem. It doesn't. I think that the Combat Patrol game mode is a lot more clever than just being a solution to a price point problem. I think there's actually a lot to like about Combat Patrol. There's all I'm hyped on Combat Patrol. I'm not gonna lie. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's the most fun I've had with Warhammer in a really long time. Is the Combat Patrol. Now my big concern, my big theory, my big question is, does it last? Is it a game that's fun for like 3-4 games, but then you're like bored? And I think the answer might be yes. So I want to let it stew for a while. I'm hoping that a variety of opponents will make playing the same Combat Patrol over and over again interesting and fun, but I'm not like 100% convinced just yet. So yeah. Who said the word vor in chat? Who said that word? Who said that word? Do not say that word. Slacker at Lars says, did you see Amazon is selling D&D Beyond codes now? I did not see that. Ooh, I did not see that. I'm surprised, but I don't know why I'm surprised. Hey, CryptoCav, thank you very much for the 5 Discourse Minis memberships. Boom, thank you very much. I'd love to see my own stupid face regurgitated at me in various different stupid outfits in chat. So 5 more people with the capacity to do that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Thank you. That's really awesome. Thanks so much. Combat Sinner Life says Combat Patrol is like $243 here. You're in Australia. Oh god, that's wild. And this is why I think Horus Heresy did so well in Australia, or it used to, even whenever it was all resin models, because the price point between resin and plastic was not very different from one another, because people were paying the price. Yeah, jeez. Ben says, I've seen more Wormahordes in my shops along with Star Wars X-Wing. But to be fair, I don't want to be rude, Ben, but that sounds like a statement that I would have heard like 7-8 years ago, and less so today. Like Wormahordes, it's really hard with wargaming to get, because it is so location dependent. But like, I haven't even heard people talk about Wormahordes in so long, even with the new edition that came out. The sort of, to be honest, as far as I'm aware, it kind of died on arrival a little bit. It did not make a splash beyond just being a 3D printed game. People were like, "Meh," on it. But I haven't really. And X-Wing was really big for a while, but I don't really hear people talk about that much anymore either. So I don't know. It could just be my area. Could just be my area. Woohoo! The new thing. Oh, there it is. There's my stupid face over and over and over again. I love it. I was asked, YouTube was like, what emojis do you want? And all I had were cutouts of my own stupid face. So big shout out to big shout out to Alignment Inc., my mod, for that one. Thanks so much, Alignment. Center Life says, I think Geno's plan was to make a quicker game mode of 40k. I think so too. I think that it was designed to kind of, I don't know whether or not they did this on purpose, but it really does feel like Commander game mode for Magic without customization. There's a lot of games out there I really love. A lot of card games like Song of Ice and Fire, the Game of Thrones card game, where you can buy like pre-constructed decks that are like you play as House Lannister, and it's just a deck that's made for you. You buy the pack, you open it up, and off you go, you can play. That's how Combat Patrol feels, and I really like it. Ben Parker says, all right, as a Johnny come lately, someone please explain Combat Patrol to me. So Combat Patrol is, so Games Workshop sell these big old bundles. These big old bundles. Oh. Called, am I on the right? Combat Patrols. Okay, so they sell these big old bundles called Combat Patrols. And what these Combat Patrols are, these are like these big bundles of models. So you can see you get like, the Scissor Battle is a pretty bad one. It's like, I'll get to the, anyway. So you buy these bundles, right? And you get all these models inside them. And it used to be, this was just like, buy a bundle, you can save a little bit of money than if you'd bought them all separately, okay? But now what they've done is they've created a full game mode called Combat Patrol, which is where your Combat Patrol can go up against other people's Combat Patrols. So you build the Combat Patrol. It has a set build, so there's no weapon options in Combat Patrol. You're told, you know, your Battle Sisters will come with 9 bolters, 1 flamer, and like a chain sword, like that, and then your Canoness will come with a plasma gun and a power sword or whatever. And that you don't get a choice, right? Normally in normal 40k you get a choice. In Combat Patrol you don't. So there's no real decision making to make there. So you build your models, you paint them how you want, and then you play other people. And your Combat Patrol, you get 3 special stratagems, which are like special abilities. Then you get a choice of 2 enhancements, and enhancements are like war gear, like an extra option. For example, this is a battle can choose between having a special save roll called a Feel No Pain roll. This gives them extra chance of surviving more in combat. And if they join a unit, they can also give that to their unit. Or they can choose to buff their special army ability, which is Miracle Dice. So they get like a choice of those things. Then you get a secondary objective as well, which is special for your army. So you choose between 2 of those. So one of them might be kill a certain unit, and the other one might be, or you can choose whether or not you just want to get into the enemy deployment zone. And at the beginning of the battle, you make those choices. Then you just play against your opponent. There's like 6 different missions, and they're kind of smaller scale. It's like a smaller table. It's not quite coffee table sized. It is bigger than that, but it's smaller table. It's like a dining room table size game, and you roll on a table inside the rulebook, and you can just play that. And it's That's it. There's no expanding on that. That's you're done and dusted. You've got your combat patrol. You're done. You're done. That's your thing. If you're just gonna play combat patrol, that's it. And the unit stats and the cards and stuff are different from the kind of proper 40k game. Some units have abilities and not, and all of the combat patrols are balanced against one another. They're not. Some of them feel a little bit stronger than others, but roughly balanced against one another. And yeah, it's pretty fun. So Warhammer 40k, one of its big main problems has always been the you go I go system, which means it's pretty poorly paced. Whenever you're playing a game, you're having to wait forever for your opponent to like do things. With combat patrol, you kind of get around this a little bit because you've only got like so many units to like activate. For example, the Space Marine, the Black Templar combat patrol has literally 3 units. It has like 3 units. It has a Crusade squad, Intercessor squad, Impulsor, and it's got 4, and it's got your Templar captain. And you're probably going to put your Templar captain, your Marshal, in your Crusader squad, and so you got like 3 guys. And that's it. So the games go a lot faster, and they're all designed to be balanced against one another. It's a genuinely breath of fresh air. It's something that they should have done a long time ago, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really innovative. For the game, for Warhammer. I think there's other war games that have done it, but I think it's pretty innovative for Warhammer. I think it's really cool. So yeah, it is very basic and very beginner band, and I think it really works in that sense, but I actually suspect that it might, if they were to double down on the game mode, I think that they could sell more variations of combat patrols. Like, for example, the Eldar combat patrol right now is a bunch of Guardians, a Wraith Lord, and a bunch of bikes. I think that they could actually sell other combat patrols for Eldar. So they could sell like a Banshee themed one, or like the different aspect warrior themed ones, you know? And I think that would be really cool. And they could balance those as well. I think there's a lot of space to go with them, and I would actually prefer that they do that, to be honest. Like, I actually think that would be a really cool one. I do think that £95 is a pretty high buy-in. Like, that is a lot of money. That is extremely expensive for wargaming. Like, that is a very expensive price. But like, I think 60 to 70 would be more reasonable. I think 35 to 45 pixie is probably a bit low for combat patrol. I actually think that like the amount of models you get in there and the quality of them, I do think justifies more than £45. But I think like 65, 75, I think that price point. I think 95 is pushed it way too hard. But yeah, I think it's actually a lot of fun. I think it's actually a ton of fun. I've really enjoyed my time with it. And I'm going to be doing a video on it. Where did I get the Lord of the Rings, Matt? Killing you softly. Sorry, I can't sing. I don't know why I insist on subjecting people to it. I got it from Amazon, I believe. I think I got it from Amazon. I use it as my painting, as like my painting space. So if I spill paint on it, it's okay. I didn't ruin the table. Yeah, that's my... going to paint them up as the Order of the Golden Light, says Winston. Oh, where do I get that map? Amazon, I think. Kazboab says, to be honest, with no points being paid for weapons and gear units, you don't really have a choice in full 40k either, since there's always going to be a best option, which is what you'll want to take. Yeah, that is kind of a problem. To be honest, I totally agree. Ben Parker says different orc combat patrols based off tribal focus. Yeah. Because right now they've got a lot of the beast snagger, or no, they've got a lot of the new orc boys in them, which isn't great, to be honest. Like, there are some combat patrols which aren't awesome. And like, if you look at Space Marines, Space Marines have got, so there's 23 different combat patrols, and I think 12 of them are Space Marine combat patrol boxes. Just from all the different variations of Space Marines. Jeez. Yeah, the Necron one. To be honest, the new Necron combat patrol box isn't very good. The old one wasn't great either, I don't think. But the new one is really bad, in my opinion. It's just, it doesn't add a lot. 20 of them are Space Marines. They're not. It's only half of the boxes. It's only half the boxes. Crypto Cav are Space Marine based. Only half of them. It's tough. Do you know what about here, actually? While I'm pulling things out of boxes. I do love the boys band, but I don't like the new orc, the orc boys, because they're like totally monopose. The one in the combat patrol boxes are just totally monopose, and they're half squads. You build like 4 shooter boys and like 5 slugger boys, so you don't get anything that you want. They're not like specialized squads at all. It's absolutely awful. Can we talk about this game, The Doomed? So I haven't had a chance to play it. I haven't really had a huge chance to like check it out. But Osprey Games sent me this out, and I'm kind of hyped for it a little bit. It looks really cool. Apocalyptic horror hunting. So this is a new war game that is, it's available for pre-order, I think, right now from Osprey Games. I think you can pre-order it on their website, and it releases in early August, I believe, if I'm correct. Wait, am I allowed to show this? I don't think there is a. I don't think there's a. I don't think I'm not allowed to show it, so I'm just gonna assume I can, and then get deleted by Osprey Games if necessary. So yeah, this thing's kind of neat. The Doom. So this is a co-op war game, I believe, from if I understand the game correctly, where it's a narrative skirmish game where you take on a horror, which is like it's basically a monster hunting game. And it's meant to be really super fast. I've seen it's played on like a 2x2 or a 3x3, and you go down. You go up against these like big crazy monsters, and I don't know if it actually I don't know if it is I think it can be played cooperative, but otherwise you're going up against other war bands and trying to hunt down these weird monsters, and it just has a really cool vibe because it's like the apocalypse. It's the end of the world, but you're like hunting down monsters in like this kind of Badlands, wasteland sort of aesthetic. It's just very cool. I just think it's neat. Looks like you're doomed. Crypto Games said they didn't ask you to sign an NDA. Should be good, right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. I didn't. I don't remember seeing any prohibition on showing off the game. Oh, you gotta love that. So it's narrative based, and it's very simple. Say now, what they did say was there's no measuring, which made me go, huh? So I actually don't know how the hell you can have a game without measuring, unless you're using like a grid. And I don't know if I don't think they use a grid. Oh, so whenever you move in a straight line. Huh, interesting. So I still need to like read through it and talk about it. I might talk about it in a future stream once I've actually gotten some games in. I will say I do review games. I do review games on my Patreon. So if you're interested in hearing some reviews of some games, I do a game a month. Although I've been slacking some of the months, I've been doing like other like unboxings and things. But I do a game a month. So you got the Inheritor cohorts, which are the cursed, which are these guys. Looks like kind of like almost like holy paladins, almost. Yeah. They look like kind of like future paladins there. And I don't know if there's any. I don't think there's any official model. Oh geez, look at this. That's pretty cool. I like this. Can I zoom in? Ooh, ooh. I like this art. That's really cool. That's very neat. That's really cool. Are there models of these guys? These are the martyr retinues. That's neat. That's pretty cool. Okay, I dig that. I like that. And it looks like they've got different types of leaders and different followers and things. And then you got like retinues. So it looks like, yeah, points. Oh, geez, there's a lot of options here. And then these are the reborn, it looks like here. Those guys are kind of neat. It's got us like these are the factions. So these are the different factions. So there's like the paladin guys, those weird satellite guys, the ones who shut down my stream earlier. The reborn, these look like weird mutant kind of guys. They got like almost like a necromancer in the apocalypse vibe. Look at this guy. It's like a demon thing. That's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. Okay, this thing looks really neat. So it looks like these guys might be kind of crazy genetic experimenter dudes. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting from these guys. The Exile Bands of the Wild. Huh. So these are like alien monsters, guys? Alien monster guys, it looks like. For these ones, that's the vibe for these guys. Okay, it's interesting. Let's see what the monsters look like. So I'm seeing here, not sure about the monsters though, says Salgardo. Let me have a little look. Let me have a little look. So I haven't actually looked. This is my first time kind of flicking through this. Here. I love this aesthetic. It's got a very Blanche vibe to it almost. Looks like those type of models that would do really well if they were painted with Nuln Oil. You got a lot of different scenarios. So these are the horrors. Okay, let's have a look. Choosing a horror. All right. I like this guy. It's like a big, a goddamn like double-headed, three-headed bull monster thing. A devourer, a beast with insatiable appetites. So I'm assuming that the book itself, because it's Osprey games, so they tend to do what is known as miniature agnostic games, which means they don't have a preset list of miniatures that you have to use, the way like Warhammer would do it. Instead, they say you can use any miniatures you want, but they often work with North Star Minis, which is a website that sell a lot of different miniatures. They often work with North Star Minis to create a range of miniatures that you can use that suit the game. So they have like an official range, but you don't have to use it. The way that the Stargrave models I showed earlier. So if you guys are interested in like monster hunting, this might be a game that you want to check out. It's definitely been on my radar as a result of it. It has like a really cool aesthetic. I think the idea of hunting down monsters in the apocalypse just sounds really cool. This is a mushroom guy. Sci-fi Dark Souls. Yeah, Red. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's got like a very evocative like art style. I still have no idea about the stats. It says that it's a very easy to play game is the goal of the game. Whether or not it is or not remains to be seen. I shall need to play it first. But it's kind of like, they say fast paced. Oh, but do you know what this guy reminds me of? This robot dude. Do you remember in Judge Dredd, the 90s Judge Dredd? The big robot guy in that the evil judge uses to enforce his will? Reminds me a lot of that. You got like some knight with a sword trying to fight it. Yeah. I really dig the aesthetic. Oh, what? That's a really cool like marker or like skull or something. Magitech. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I dig it. It reminds me of... God, this is like going to be a weird one. But it reminds me of London. Oh, God, what was it called? Hell London. It was a spin-off of Diablo from some of the devs. Thank you very much for the follow. From some of the devs at Blizzard who created Diablo. Hellgate London? Hellgate London. Is that what I'm thinking of? It reminds me a lot of that. Hammerstein. World War I is in high demand, says Dungeons and Dreadnoughts. Some of the art in this is really cool. Some of the art in this is really nice. So yeah, this might be something you want to check out. I'm definitely checking out. I think I'm going to be using some of those scavenger minis for this. That's pretty neat. So pretty evocative for sure. It looks like there's a lot of different conflicts. It looks like you create scenarios and then you build a monster. You create a monster and you've got to like hunt down the monster. That's kind of neat. I dig that. I actually really love those types of games. It's definitely campaign climaxes. Talk about Tyranid guns. The climax is a special battle to end the campaign. Very neat. I really like these types of games. I like games where you're like Doom climax. I really like it whenever you're kind of like fighting big monsters and stuff, and you're kind of trying to hunt down big monsters. That it just seems really cool. I'm not sure what else Chris McDowell has made. I'm not like, his name doesn't like ring out to me immediately, but he might have worked on some cool stuff before. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if anyone recognizes them. Yeah, so pretty neat. I figured, while I'm here, may as well show off this game. I think a lot of the cool things about the Osprey games is they tend to be very, very consumer friendly. They're very easy to play, very fast games. The models tend to be very affordable, and the games are pretty cool. If you ever like want to play, like you're like, okay, is there a game that does X? I would really suggest that you check out Osprey games because they do tend to do a wide variety of games for sure. So yeah, they do no stacking, no tracking, rules that create drama, open enough to use with a variety of miniatures, fast battles that can be finished easily under an hour. That's a big claim. If I can complete a game under an hour, then I would say Like, you're either Relic Blade or you're lying to me. There's only one game I've ever played that's like, I've been able to actually finish a game in sub an hour, and that's a Relic Blade. That's the only game. It says it has no measuring, so I actually kind of want... How does it do the battlefield? How does it do? The rules assume a competitive game between 2 players, but can also be played with a single warband controlled by just 1 player. Consult the hard conflict and you see if any specific changes. So this is a solo game. So you can solo this game, which is always really cool. So you activate a model. You take 3 different actions of your choice. Huh? But how do you move without a measuring tape? How do you move? A move action allows the model to move in a straight line over open ground to the top of a climb or to the other side of an obstacle or gap. Movement in the Doomed is generally done without measuring or using a specific distance. Moving without measurement calls for some collaborative judgment between the players. In general, a single move is intended to allow one of the below. Right, so what does it allow? Run in a straight line over relatively open ground, crossing anything. Oh, so you just run in a straight line. Huh. So you can just run. You don't measure. Hurdle to the other side of an obstacle. You can climb up a vertical level. Up 1 story, basically. Drop down or leap a reasonable gap. Reasonable gap is a bit of a... Wow. So you can just run. That is very different. That is a very different movement style. I've never seen a game do that before. That is a very different movement style where you can just run. You're like, I'm just going to run a straight line. You don't measure at all. That is really interesting. I really want to try this game though. How well does this work? So it seems like they want to basically skip past all the kind of measuring. Like you don't measure. Cryptica says, I do not like the just move in a straight line. I'm curious about it. Now I do agree that it might make you end up feeling a bit cantankerous as you're like, okay, I'm gonna run up here and then I have to turn and then I can run over there. Right? Like that does feel, it feels almost like tank gameplay. You're like vehicle gameplay. Like I'm a car or whatever, as opposed to a person. But it's a really interesting idea. What happens if you need to check a mofo who's on your left? You can only go forward. I assume you can turn, right? Like you can turn. I assume you can turn. Wait, you can feel moving. You can feel to move. Is there a lot of terrain? Asks Luke. I'm going to assume so. This feels like the type of game that you'd put a lot of terrain in. It does feel like the type of game you'd put a lot of terrain in. Okay, so... A small amount of readjustment before the move should be permitted. Typically only enough that the miniature is still touching the area originally covered by its base. Units can move through allies, but enemies block movement. So the movement system is designed to encourage dynamic... Oh, you can't really see that. So the move system was designed to encourage dynamic movement. For most battlefields, single moves spanning half of the board should not be possible. So yeah, I think it's designed so that you can... I need a protractor, says Cryptic. I guess designed so that there are, like, you can't move, like, really far, right? There should be, like, plenty of terrain in the way. Be strict when drawing long lines, but generous with shorter movements. So it's one of them very casually sort of, like, use your best judgment. This is a very different game from the way that, like, imagine Games Workshop writing something like this. Imagine Games Workshop trying to write this. Run in a straight line over relatively open ground, crossing anything up to knee high. It would be, oh my god, like, what would it even look like? It would be like first, place your hands on the miniature that you wish to take the run action with. The run action, brackets, see below, is designed so that the miniatures can get from one area of the board to another area of the board and traverse that. Models, when picked up, are not taken off the board. They still count as on the board at any one time in that movement space. Dan Brooks says, what benefits are there to straight line movement? Is this on every miniature instead of blocks? So I think the benefit is you don't need measurements at all. You don't need to measure movement. And I don't get it. So is it kind of designed like, can you rotate your model? I'm immediately questioning that. Can I rotate my model? Like, before I move, can I like turn around? This is like, CryptoCev says, best judgments conversations end up with someone getting suplexed through a table. Not going to work for me. It really depends, I think. Like, there are definitely different tables. I think I could work with that. I think I could play with that, but I do take your point. I think that there's a lot of, especially like pickup games at a local club. This book has an ideology to it. It is written under an assumption of what a game looks like. You'll see that every war game is written with an assumption of what a game is, like what a war game is. And I think that's really interesting. That's a really interesting element of wargaming. You know, whenever you're engaging with a video game, you're engaging with a very scripted event. Even sandbox games and video games, you're engaging with a way that they want you to play. You're giving a space, and you can only interact with that space in certain ways that they want you to. Miniature war games attempt to do that, but yeah, writing use your best judgment. That means that games are going to look very, very, very different. I mean, even the idea of being like, they say for a stricter game, players may move cap actions at 6 inches. But what does that mean? You know, if it's co-op, it could work. Says Red. I agree. I think that this probably would work better for like co-op. I'm suspicious of it in a competitive game, but I will try it. I am going to try it. It is different, and it's made me very interested in it as a result. Like, that's a very different way of doing a miniature war game, to just be like, you can move in a straight line. Bada bing, bada boom. Dom says, it is a great job. The gamers are not likely to disagree with one another. Yeah, right, yeah. What you'll find, though, and I think this goes for, like, a lot of Osprey games, these are written for, like, club play in mind. For, like, meeting up with the same opponent, you know, week in, week out, and playing a game. And like a campaign game. So this is like a narrative game. So I guess you're meant to enter into it in that kind of perspective. I don't think this is really designed to just be like a random pickup game. I think it's designed to be like you and a friend, or you and someone at a club, or you and yourself will set up a campaign and you'll go hunting monsters. And so it's the intention of the game is that you're not going to be like too much of a stickler. I still haven't seen, though. It says you can move a little bit. A small amount of readjustment before the move, but I don't know what that means. Like, can I change my direction? Is it an action to change your direction? See, that is something that really needs to get picked up, but I'm not sure. It is not clear to me. It is not clear to me at all. Just going back here, Dean Goldsmith says, whenever Rogue Trader started, you just used what minis you had. It was the ultimate skirmish game. GM not included. Yeah, like I have the original Rogue Trader, and yeah, it's very interesting. It's definitely it's a lot closer. Let me tell you, it's a lot closer to Doomed than the modern incarnation of Warhammer, which is a very gamified experience. Ben Parker says, I remember having a strange issue with straight line movement with something like Jovian Chronicles, where the terrain is a planetoid space. Well, that's really interesting. Red says, I like to see gameplay. To be honest, you're very unlikely to see gameplay on my channel. Trying to pick up gameplay is really tough. And like, I don't have great lighting in my like war game space, and like the room that has been designated the war game room I don't have great lighting in it. So you're very unlikely to ever see like actual gameplay from me, but reviews and stuff I do on Patreon. CryptoCev says, wow, your viewership really takes a hit when non-40k games are talked about. Damn, I want to talk about some of the other games you picked up. Yeah, they sure do. It sure does. We're like half. Our viewership is half now. Talking about the Doom. There's a lot of people who are just interested in Warhammer, you know? Manny Panario says, you have 3 actions, so you just move in a line once, then again in a different direction with another if you want to go around a corner. Okay, Manny, okay. Darkfold Art says, even if turning is not an action, a straight line only movement makes turning around corners into multi-action. That's true. Juan Fernandez says, hey, Discourse, first stream I catch. What you doing? Well, we were talking about Tyranids. We were checking them out. We're checking them out in all their flashy glory. We checked them out. They look pretty cool. And then we were talking about Combat Patrol, the new game mode from Games Workshop. We're talking about how cool that is. And then we were talking about the Doomed and how neat that looks as well. A very neat stream today. We're very happy-go-lucky today. Dungeons and Dreadnought says, unfortunately, 40k draws so much attention. If you want it to be relevant, you always have to cover it or its content. Yeah, like you talk about Tyranids and then you throw in a doomed look. Not about that. But welcome to the stream, by the way, Juan. Welcome to the very first stream of yours. Hopefully not the last. Dungeon knows unfortunately 40k draws so much attention. So the thing about the 40k and relevancy is every single content creator deals with this to one extent or another, you know? It's like, I really like 40k. I really enjoy it. Like, you saw my Sisters of Battle models earlier that I'm currently working on, that I'm finally getting painted. Yeah, so you saw those, like, I play the games, but yeah, I play a lot of war games. Like, it's my dream. It's kind of funny, I get accused a lot of not playing Warhammer, and I kind of sometimes feel like I've probably played more games of Warhammer than they ever have. Like, I've played a lot of games of Warhammer of a lot of different editions, and I've probably played more war games than they've heard about, to be honest. Like, to be very frank, because I review a new war game every single month. So I play a lot of games of that war game throughout that month to review it. I play a lot of war games. I really love wargaming. Cryptocat, thank you very much for the $5 donation. Thank you. Says, so now the Space Marine Bros have left. Are you going to review Malifaux on a stream? I know you've seen the conversations in the secret Discord rooms. Okay, so for those of you who are not in the Patreon secret Discord rooms, Malifaux has been getting talked about a lot in there. I have indeed seen them. As you well know, Crypto, I've been talking about some of them. No, I've not reviewed Malifaux right now live on stream, mostly because I have never played Malifaux. It's kind of funny me being like, you know, I've played every single war game that's ever been made except this one that you bring up right now. I have not played Malifaux. I've heard a lot about Malifaux. Malifaux looks really interesting. I've looked to maybe buy into Malifaux a bunch of different times. My problem with Malifaux is that there is no good new player buy-in experience, which is one of the things I like about Combat Patrol for Warhammer 40k. Malifaux doesn't have like a starter set. There's no like easy buy-in path for a new player to Malifaux. I almost bought in at UKGE this year, but I looked at the box and I was like, yeah, is this going to be enough? I'm not really sure. I've already got a lot of stuff. Never mind. So not now, Crypto. Well, maybe it depends. I can't commit to that because I don't. Malifaux, to be perfectly honest, is not on my list of games that I'm going to be playing like really soon. I do have games. So, for example, this month I'm probably going to review Relic Blade. I'm probably going to review Relic Blade for the Patreon. So that's this month. And then next month, there are a couple of games that I want to catch up on to talk about. Or Blood and Plunder. I really want to talk about Blood and Plunder. The problem with Blood and Plunder is a huge army-based pirate game. And the mechanics of that game look so much fun. It looks so much fun. But I kind of want to paint up some pirates for it. I think the pirates are going to be really easy to paint. But I do want to paint them up. So Blood and Plunder, yeah, I think I'll probably end up reviewing Blood and Plunder before I review Malifaux. Alan, thank you very much for the $10 Canadian. Says, here's some dollars to help you talk about non-GW games. I play Frostgrave, Infinity, and so many non-GW games, but the only GW game I play regularly is Middle-earth strategy battle games, which almost doesn't count to a lot of GW fans. Well, firstly, thank you very much. Thank you for the support. Because it is really hard to talk about non-Games Workshop games. It does get really tough. I was really pleased. I did a video recently that talked about a lot of other games that weren't Warhammer, and I did have to clickbait people into watching it, but people did genuinely enjoy the video, and I'm really happy about that because it got a lot of new games in front of a lot of new players, so that was really cool. So thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that, Alan. And I'm trying to stream more. I'm trying to stream more now that I've got this Cloud Lifter thing sorted and I have like good audio. I'm trying to stream more so that I can talk about games. And I probably will. I'm gonna be honest, guys. So this is for you guys here right now. You stuck to the very end. I'm probably gonna have Warhammer stuff in the thumbnail and title. But we're gonna, when we get to the latter half of the stream, we're gonna do stuff like this. We're gonna look at these other games, and we're gonna catch a bunch of the Warhammer only players. They're gonna catch it in their eye as they zoom out of the stream. They're gonna see Doomed first, and then it might stay, and maybe they'll stick around and check it out. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It is my mission. I love Warhammer. I love playing Warhammer, but it is my mission to try and introduce some competition to Warhammer in the hobby. I don't want it to be the Warhammer hobby. I want it to be the wargaming hobby, with Warhammer just being a game. And that is my mission, to try and usurp some of the monopoly. And this is one of my schemes. I have schemes, guys. I have schemes. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Il Gordo555, thank you very much for the £5 donation. Says, Relic Blade, please. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming this month. I will be reviewing it this month. Or Slain. I want to know if it is worth me painting all the figures I bought and primed. You'll be glad to know, El Gordo, that Relic Blade is this month, and I think Slain is going to be next month. So you've got yourself a pretty sweet couple of months coming up. So thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Those are genuinely the 2 games that I think are next. Relic Blade definitely this month, and I really think Slain this month, because I have finally gotten a bunch of the miniatures painted myself. They are a real joy. I will say this much: they are a real joy to paint. So even if you don't play it, they are a real joy to paint. They are a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy painting them. Blizzard says, oh no, they just have a starter set for nearly all the factions in Malifaux. That actually was like one of the confusing parts to me, Blizz. I think one of the boxes I really want to buy is the Perdido family. I think it's the Perdido family, who are like the cowboy family. They look really cool, but I wasn't sure whether or not that would be like enough to like play a game or anything, so I ended up just kind of putting it off. CryptoCat, thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships there. Very awesome. Very cool. That's a lot of membership. There's another 5 memberships as well. Thank you very much, CryptoCav. Getting the you get an emoji and you get an emoji and you get an emoji. I really appreciate that. That's very cool. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. OG Phil says, I just pre-ordered Doomed. Thanks for the heads up. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that that these actually have an impact. That's actually really cool to know. It's really cool to know that there is an impact. I think the last stream I did, I showed off the Blood and Plunder starter set, and I showed off the rule book for the game as well. And there was a couple of people who said that they bought the game off the back of that, and that's really cool to me. That's really cool to me. I'm always honest about whether or not I like a game or not. I'm always truthful about whether or not I like a game or not, or whether or not I've even played it, which I haven't with the Doom. So if it turns out that it sucks, that's not my problem. Hopefully it's good. Like, I want to play it, but I haven't played it yet. But it's really cool to know that, like, if something catches your fancy, like the Doom, that book is £17.50. Like, that's £17.50. So that would cost less, almost about half of what a codex would cost for Warhammer, right? And like, that's everything that you need in terms of rules in there. So it's the price points are definitely a lot better, but that's really cool. That's really cool to know. So thanks very much again for all those, just all the memberships flying down from CryptoCav there. Thank you very much. Selena's good fun, says Jazz Hunt. I suspect I'll enjoy it. Just because I love the core bolt action kind of like activation system, and Slain uses that system. But we shall see. I don't know whether the magic system will grip me that well, but I'm interested in seeing so. Soviet Bear Knight 17, thank you very much for the $2 donation. Says, have to go be an adult. Thanks for all that you do. Well, thank you very much, Soviet Bear. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you to everybody for your support. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. Kieran Mather says, that's quite a manifesto discourse. The space doesn't serve you and definitely needs you. Well, thank you very much, Kieran. That's very kind of you. Thank you. It is kind of tough. It's tough. It's really tough. I get accused of hating the hobby a lot. And I guess I do. I kind of hate the Warhammer hobby, or the conceptualization of wargaming as the Warhammer hobby, because I love Warhammer, but I've been in like a lot of Warhammer only spaces over the last like month or so, because I've been playing a lot of Warhammer, and so I've been like interested in like the Warhammer competitive stuff. I've been checking out a lot of that. I've been checking out like different faction subreddits, and there's been a lot of new people who've been coming in playing Warhammer, which is really cool. Like, there's a lot of new people joining in, but I keep on seeing people being like, I'm joining the hobby, the Warhammer hobby, for the first time. I'm just into the Warhammer hobby, and it's like, it's so frustrating to me. Every single time it definitely triggers me. Like, I'm definitely like, every single time I see the words the Warhammer hobby, it like sets off something in my brain where it's really frustrating. Because they'll be like, does anyone else think the Warhammer hobby is like, you know, it's kind of expensive? I've never played anything like this. And it's like, it's a Warhammer hobby. It's a Warhammer franchise. It's a game. It's one game of many. Sorry, we're treading up old stuff. It's just been annoying me recently. But yes, I think the Games Workshop probably won't change until they have to. Like, the reason why they're selling 10 models for £35. Why they are literally like 3 times more expensive than Stargrave miniatures is because they can. Because they can't, basically. Because they are able to do so. Because they don't have any competition. Because no one's competing with them. So I want to encourage other companies. Yeah. And I've spoken to a lot of other content creators here who feel the same way, for sure. El Gordo, thanks again for another £5 donation, says Ditto, Blood and Plunder. Although I've only assembled 2 of those so far. Blood and Plunder is very cool. Like I really like the rules of Blood and Plunder. I have not played the game yet, but I've read the rules and it sounds really goddamn fun. So I got really high hopes for it, which means that if I don't like it, I'm gonna be really bitterly disappointed. I'm gonna be so sad. It's the only game where sailing has sounded fun to me. I'm not really like super interested in like Man of War, any of those kind of boat naval based games, but the Blood and Plunder, the amphibious mix of like boats attacking the ground and having cannons and stuff and you're fighting them, that sounds really, really cool. That sounds really awesome. I trust no Osprey Games, says OG Phil. Osprey Games are cool. I really like their attitude. I really like Osprey Games' attitude. Their attitude is, we're going to try and make things affordable and open. Like, that's their attitude towards gaming. And I think that's a really cool attitude to have. Like, I think that's super pro-consumer. I think it's super consumer-friendly. Like, I get it. All these businesses, they're all trying to make money, right? But there are ways to go about that I think are better than other ways. And I think the way Osprey goes about things should definitely be rewarded more in the marketplace. And I think it's a pity that it's not rewarded more, to be honest. So I do like Osprey Games. I don't think their games aren't always hits, by the way. Like, I don't think all their games are amazing. I've got a lot of very nuanced perspectives on a lot of their games, but I will say most of their games are pretty good. The ones that I've played, I've enjoyed, and they've got a lot of them. They've got a lot of games. They're definitely a good custodian, I think. I'm a pretty good international jewel thief, says Crypto Cav. You heard it here first, people. This one over here, officer. Winston Smith says, great stream discourse. Thanks. I've got to run. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Goodbye there, Winston. Goodbye. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Brennan says, give it time and GW will lose the trademark for Warhammer. Their push to make themselves the only game in town will backfire on them eventually. I don't know. Hopefully. But I don't think it will backfire unless it's made to backfire. Stay the discourse. Blood and Plunder. Plod and Blunder. I like that, Efren. I like that change. Yeah. Pirate mechs. If it has mechs, I'm sold, says Ben Parker. I get a lot of hate from the mech crowd because of my BattleTech video, which was just purely me giving my opinion. People are like, oh, it's like just you're just giving, like, this is just your video of you just giving your opinion on BattleTech and it's wrong. I'm like, well, yeah. It's my subjective opinion. I actually really like BattleTech from a, like, I personally don't enjoy the aesthetic of it, and I don't personally enjoy the game, but like, I really like BattleTech. I think that the way that they sell their models, I think the price points are really good. I think there's a lot to praise about BattleTech for sure. Maybe I'll do a video praising stuff. The funny thing is, my video that was like, BattleTech is worse than you think, is actually a video that praises a lot of elements of BattleTech. But maybe I'll do a video that's like, BattleTech is better than you think in the future. Perhaps. Maybe I'll play it more. Maybe I'll give it another try, another go, because I haven't played it in ages. Pixie says, speaking of slaying, I'd have considered it if the only models were based on Bisley's slaying artwork or even McMahon's. I don't know the different artists there. I will say I do like the models. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think that a lot of the Warlord miniatures are winners. I'm gonna say that. And I'm not just including the obvious, but also the Judge Dredd miniatures. Some of the Judge Dredd miniatures are not great in my opinion. Like, I've heard a lot of people say they're just put off by it, and those are based on the art style of the comics. I will say I prefer the Slayin art style to the Judge Dredd ones, even though I think I prefer the Judge Dredd IP. But I like the Slayin miniatures more. Dan Brooks says, I got the Blood and Plunder book, but only to look at, as I am currently painting the flat instead of looking. I'm also excited for Super Bowl Discourse. Ooh. Crypto Kev says, I did play the starter box. It was pretty fun, just not quite for me. Is this the BattleTech starter box, Kev, or was this Blood and Plunder or Slain? Oh God, what game are we talking about now? I'm lost. Jason says, Pixie, some of them are Uku, Lord Weird, Sly, Fag, Beeler. A few of those are literally 3D versions of Bisley paintings. Yeah, some of them are like literally the artwork in the miniature. They are literally. Red says you don't like fighty robots. So I'm a huge fan of Conflict 47, which has mechs in it, and I'm a big fan of like mechs in Command and Conquer the Tiberian Sun. But I just don't. I'm not like a big fan of Gundam, and I don't really like the BattleTech mechs. They're just not like super interesting to me. It's just not really what I'm into. I like people. I like people fighting people. It's my kind of vibe that I like. Vincent says, I love BT and had no issue with anything you said in that video. Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, Vincent. To this day, that's like one of those videos that gets a lot of comments. It didn't get a lot of views, funnily enough, because people, like, again, like most people will only click on things with Warhammer. You've got to really try and get people to click on things that aren't Warhammer. But most people click, but it gets a lot of comments. Mostly people being like, you're a fucking idiot, discourse. So fair enough. Red said, Warlord's getting better, although Mantic is really nice. I think Mantic have definitely come leaps and bounds. I think Mantic's miniatures have definitely come leaps and bounds over what they used to be. I will say, I want to play more of the Ambush, the Kings of War Ambush game mode. I haven't built the Ambush boxes yet. I've been dealing with the Combat Patrol. I've been trying to get through my backlog. I think someone asked me earlier about whether I was getting through my Rooms of Shame. I am actually. I'm actually really trying to lay into it, trying to bang into it. I'll be honest, I haven't been getting a lot of sleep recently. I've been very tired a lot of the time, including today. I'm operating on 5 hours of sleep today, and a part of the reason for that is because I'm trying to do my job. It takes a lot of time, but I'm also trying to hobby a lot. I'm also trying to build and paint a lot of models and get a lot of games in, and that's tough to do sometimes. So Al Gorda says, agree on the Judge Dredd minute figures. It actually puts me off painting them. Yeah, I know a few people who are like, I love Judge Dredd, like the movies, right? Like I love the Dredd movie, but that's not, yeah. I kind of wish, honestly, I get there is a lot of love for the comics, and I actually really love the comics, and I love the vibe and aesthetic of the comics, but I think in terms of miniatures, I think I would have preferred more of a Dredd vibe. I appreciate the Judge Dredd miniatures from Warlord Gaming because they're just different, right? They're just different. They're not the type of miniatures that you normally see. Like, let's because I'm sure there's a lot of people here who like actually have never seen, who've never seen the Warlord Judge Dredd miniatures. I'm sure there's a lot of people who've never seen them. So let me show you them. You're probably gonna go, whoa, okay. You're probably gonna get what I mean. They are definitely of a very specific aesthetic. Very specific aesthetic. You're gonna feel it. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted memberships there, Crypto Kev. More memberships. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. We're in UK. That's very awesome. It was BattleTech that you were, yeah, Crypto Kev, yeah. The nice thing about BattleTech is that you can buy the BattleTech starter box, find out it's not for you, and not be too upset about that. Whereas if you've bought like Warhammer, you bought like a Combat Patrol, and you're like, oh my god. Can you guys, yeah. Let's see. So we're at Warlord Games, who, by the way, were bought out by Hornby recently, or 25% of Warlord Games was bought by Hornby recently, which has me a little bit nervous, has me a little bit worried. I don't like that, but okay, let's see. What are we looking for? We're looking for we're looking for Judge Dredd. All right, guys, here's the Judge Dredd models. Now, brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. So I like some of them. I think some of them look really cool. So this is the starter set. I think these have some of the best looking miniatures. Okay, well, here's the big bundle. Oh, okay. So this is not the big bundle anymore. Wow. All right. So I'm trying to, jeez. Okay, hold up. Okay. This website, guys. Yeesh. All right. Let's go back. Here are the models. And they have a very specific vibe to them. A very, very specific vibe to them. So I kind of like them and I don't. I actually really love some of them, but I hate others. I am not a fan of the fatties models. Not a fan of the fatties models myself. Not a fan at all. But I like some of these guys, down with this. But they are they have a vibe to them for sure that I think is very divisive. I think that you either love this or you hate it. It's really the thing. It's got a very cartoony style, and that's because it's based on the original 2000 AD. I think this art style works a bit better in 2D than 3D, personally. I think that they just look a lot better in comic form. Now, that said, I really enjoy the game. I actually really enjoy the game. So these are all new models. Where's the starter box, I will say, is probably... What the hell? Didn't I get out of here before? The starter box, I will say, is probably a pretty good starter box. I actually really like the... is it Block War? Just go to Judge Dredd. Let's find the starter box. The I Am the Law starter set. I actually really like the starter set. I think these models all look pretty cool. The block guy, I kind of like them, but they've got a vibe to them. And Judge Dredd has really weird proportions, and the way he's like posed and stylized is just very different. I feel like this game would have had a lot more uptake if they had to use the Dredd aesthetic from 2012. It was 2012, right? And had like a more modern kind of version than these kind of like the bright 80s. But it's Warlord Games. They do a lot of nostalgia stuff, so I can see why they went for this. Like, I get it. They look like more like comic book Judge Dredd rather than the Dredd movie, says Brian. They are, yeah, Brian, exactly. They are comic book. They're straight from the comic book, and the Slain miniatures are the same way. But I will say, this in terms of the miniatures, I think the Slain ones look nicer. Like, I think that they fit that more, and I don't know if that's just because I didn't know about Slain until I actually checked out the miniatures game. I found out about Slain after, whereas I knew about Judge Dredd going into it, and I had the movie version of Dredd in my head beforehand, so it's kind of my own preconceptions. But I don't know. There's something about the design style. I'm not the biggest fan of Slain in Warp Spasm here, which is like him in his Cucullin form, or Slain himself, funnily. But I really love the skull swords. I think these guys look really cool. They've got like, there's something about the cartooniness and the sly throt here as well as a sorcerer. There's something very dark about these models that I really quite like. And these are as cartoony and proportioned as the Judge Dredd models. But I don't know, I just prefer them. They look very old 40K almost. Or like the Judge Dredd ones do, definitely. Yeah, I think that is the IP they own. Yeah, that is the IP they own. So they don't own the movie IP as probably, as far as I'm aware. I'm assuming they don't. They look like X-Men toys I had as a kid, says Olaf. CryptoCap says, just use the Adeptus Arbites minis. You could, honestly, you could. I guess that's the thing. I was kind of, whenever I first heard about the Judge Dredd game, I was kind of expecting more towards Necromunda, almost, I guess. And then I saw those and I was like, whoa, these are very cartoony. But I suppose it does separate. It gives it like a distinctive art style from Necromunda, right? Like Necromunda exists. So it's nice that a company is doing something different, you know, and there are people who really like that art style. So fair enough. Pixie says the Dreadmall should have used the Henry Flint aesthetic, a bit chunkier. They are so spindly. They are very spindly. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you the different ones. I've read a bunch of the 2000 AD comics, but it was based on playing the Judge Dredd game. I got into the 2000 AD comics. The Drune models are awesome, Alan. That's the faction that I've been playing as in Slain. Cryptic Slain minis are just a bunch of naked dudes covered in woad, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, basically. It's just like Irish, super Irish legends, basically, is Slain. Very dark, super Irish legends. Merlin says, would definitely agree that basing on the Dredd movie would have been better, at least if not to play the Just Right game, than as proxies for One Piece Rules games. Yeah, exactly. Pixie says, the Drune models are the only ones that work for me. That's fair. I think they look neat. I think they look cool. The Drune ones are really cool. I'm not a fan of what they did to my memory of Judge Dredd, says Dan Brooks. Sorry. McAdam says, Popsicles on my mini factory has a cyberpunk set of Dread called Upholders and a few gangs too. That's really cool. I think one of the things about the Dread game that kind of disappointed me is you have a block gang faction. You don't have like different gangs. And I guess that must be based on the comics. But I kind of would have liked different gangs because I played the block gangers. One of the fun things is with the Judge Dredd game is when I play as the block gang, I feel like a horde faction. Like I literally, the starter set is like you've got 12 models and then the judge player has 2 models and the game feels pretty balanced, honestly. The judge model can react and shoot you when you shoot at them, and you don't get that as a ganger, so that's pretty good. Luigi says, I'd like an underwater war game with power armored scuba dudes fighting mutant fish folk and once thought extinct sea dinosaurs. So it's like a sea-based thing. I mean, I'll be honest. That sounds a lot like Slaying, but not underwater. Like there are mutant fish guys in Slaying. There are mutant fish monsters in Slaying. The Fomorians. They do, Crypto. They do. They have the Fomori. I can pull it up actually. Let's have a little look. Uh-oh, my hay fever's acting up. There they are. The Fomorian starter bundle. That's a pretty cool model, by the way, right there. This one on the big moose. But these are the Fomorians. I think the Fomorians look kind of cool. They've got this like weird like aquatic goblinoid vibe to them. They look pretty cool. I quite like the Fomorians. They're pretty neat. But I do think the Droon are probably my favorite. So this is like the Droon overall like kind of war band. I love these like warriors. They're like evil warriors. The fun thing about them is they've got these little pipes sticking out of their mouth, and the reason why they have those is because their lords, the Droon lords, do not wash at all, and they smell so badly that their mask, the Droon warrior mask, is designed to cover up their nose so they can't smell anything. So they breathe through these like little reeds, these little like tubes. That's how they breathe. It's kind of fantastic. It's very weird and dark. These are the leaders of the Sly. This is like an evil, oh god, what's his name? Sly Fan is his name. He's like an evil sorcerer. He's like the chosen one, who was meant to die, and he decided not to die, and that turned him evil, basically. So now he's immortal, but he was meant to die in their mythology, and he decided not to. He was too much of a coward to die. So now he leads these evil warriors. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool setting. It's pretty cool setting. I am hoping to review it soon. Dropping in late says Sigmunder Davidson. What was the verdict of the return of models? Pretty cool, honestly. Pretty cool. I like them. I like the new models. I thought they were pretty cool. They're a little bit busy in places. I loved the glow up of the Biovores and stuff. I think they look weird. I think they look not PG rated. And I like the new Hornagant and Termagant models as well. I like them. I think they look pretty cool. My worry is the price point. It's going to go up for them, so that's always a little bit of a worry. And also some of the gun options, I think, were done after Games Workshop employee. Search history was pulled up on a screen, and they were like, what have you got to say for yourself, Dave? And they said, I'm working on the Tyranids. On it. I've got this new gun idea. And they were like, okay. So I think that's probably what happened. Sly Fag, says Alan. Yes. Sly Fag. There's a Bastille Day sale, by the way, guys. Just FYI on Warlord, apparently. Good God, that's a lot of boxes. £556. Oh my God, that is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Jeez. These are some big bundles. These are very big, very expensive bundles. Napoleon Gamers, guys. Napoleon Gamers. Valheim awaits. Keep doing what you're doing. Have a great day, says OG Phil. Well, thank you very much, OG Phil. I hope you have a pleasant Sunday. I think we're probably gonna be calling it here soon, guys, because my hay fever is starting to act up, and it's getting hot, but in a really bad way. The Tyranid models are gone now. Now it's just getting hot in an uncomfortable way. Merlin says, of all the Warlords games, Black Powder would be my game of choice, but living in Northern Ireland, barely anyone plays it. The only thing that makes me jealous of the English, more people to play there. I'm sure there's probably some clubs that play Black Powder, but in fairness, I'm not aware of any. I'm not aware of any. In Norn, Ireland, where the Norn Emissary comes from. Symbiote says, let's go old school. Have a Jerry Anderson war game. Thunderbirds versus Stingray. Okay, this is different. Okay. Versus Captain Scarlet versus Moonbase Alpha. That is a very distinctly nostalgia-filled list there, Symbiote. That hay fever is sounding really bad. It is. It's creeping up on me. I've been really struggling. I woke up sneezing, going this morning. It was like a Dylan Moran wake up. Thank you very much for the gifted 5 memberships there, Crypto Kev. That's 25 gifted memberships today from you. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I really appreciate that. Definitely encouraging more streams where we show off little games. So next time you see me do a stream entitled 100% Warhammer all the time, guys, on us, click here for Space Marines. Then you come in, it's like, this is a Napoleonic war game from a small indie developer. These are the Marines that you were looking for. Classic. Geez, thank you very much, Kev. That's very kind of you. That you've earned yourself. You've earned a secret a clickbait stream of Space Marines this way, and it's like the tunnel in a Wile E. Coyote video episode. It's painted on. Brian Hall says, every time someone plays the Norn Emissary, I'm going to say Norn. Yes. Like from Cheers. Yeah. It's so weird. Norn. It's such an odd word that they chose. I'm just going to say Norn Ireland says no. Merlin, no clubs, just occasional players over Norris drives away. I've tried. 40k clickbait, says Ben. I would know anything about that. I wouldn't know anything about that, Ben. I wouldn't know anything about that. Thank you so much, everybody who joined me today. I feel privileged to have you join me on a stream. So thank you very much, and I really appreciate everyone who donated, everyone who donated memberships, Kev, and everybody who hung around just to chat and hang out. Thank you so much, guys. And thanks for sticking around. Even whenever we weren't talking about big throbbing Tyranid guns. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much, guys. I really am dying here of the hay fever, unfortunately, or else I would hang out. Yeah, feel free to join the Discord. Discord is free. You don't have to be a Patreon to join it. There's just secret Discord rooms for those in the Patreon, but there are free rooms. Like if you jump in, there's people who play a wide variety of war games there. There's a lot of Warhammer chat, but there is a lot of chat about other war games as well. You're perfectly welcome to come on in and chat away. It's a very welcoming community, and yeah, so by all means, guys, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for putting up with me earlier whenever my audio broke down and I had to restart my computer. It was a big disaster. Really appreciate it. Flawless exit. Thanks so much, guys. I really hope you have a fantastic end to your weekend, or you live in some topsy-turvy place where your weekend begins on a Sunday, which would be baller, because the Monday scares is the worst. I hope you have a really great week, everybody, and I will see you again soon. I will be streaming more often, so keep an eye out on the stream, or you get updates on my Discord. Thanks very much, guys, and I hope you all have a very pleasant week. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. And I gotta wave and then look at myself on this screen over there, and once I start waving, I hit end stream. Flawless. Oh, there I go.